The forward phrase "night cool as water" could not be more apt to describe night in the Crystal Dragon Palace. Sitting on the courtyard walkway, gazing at the heavens, the sky was a wave of glimmering refraction. The Crystal Dragon Palace's depth was 10,000 li. There was inherently no white light, but because the Crystal Dragon Palace's halls were all constructed from crystals, they could absorb the quintessence of the moon, becoming even more radiant than any other place in Liangshan continent during the night. The Crystal Dragon Palace was immersed in a light blue glow. The surroundings fluctuated with a multitude of auroras, and the quintessence of the moon was at the pinnacle of abundance. Countless cultivators of powerful ability and brilliant powers would seize this chance to find suitable ground to cultivate. Even if they did not use it to cultivate, this moon quintessence was very effective for a female cultivator to maintain a youthful appearance. This was one of the Crystal Dragon Palace's most attractive places. The first day of the treasure banquet ended, and Su Xing could be considered to have tasted this Dragon Palace's splendor. After checking into his palace, he struck up a conversation with some girls. Then, when the night turned even deeper, the other beauties gradually began to return. Su Xing greeted each of his wives, and everyone sat in the hall chatting about the things they saw today. A while after, the late one was Thief Star Flea on a drum. Sure, Yuan. Looks like Yuaner is off playing around again. I'll go look for her. Su Xing was impatient. He prepared to use their star crest to sense her. Just at this moment, Shi Yuan's voice sounded out from outside the door. This young lady has returned. A beautiful figure flashed in. Shi Yuan's face brimmed with a brilliant smile. Clearly, this treasure banquet gave the thief star a plentiful harvest. Yuaner, what were you doing? Wu Xinjie smiled. Why so late? The treasure banquet is so full of people. This young lady just randomly browsed about and snatched up so many astral bags. Shi Yuan giggled. With a flourish of her hand, the table overflowed with multicolored astral bags numbering in the dozens. All of the girls stared dumbstruck. Only then did Su Xing recall that the girl in front of him was none other than the best thief under heaven. Now that she had free time, how could she stay idle? Su Xing had wanted to say something, but he swallowed his words back down. Su Xing, you won't be mad, right? Shi Yuan cautiously said. She was fully aware of Su Xing's personality, and it was different from any Star Master, or even any cultivators before. The Star Masters of the past that could contract the Thief Star were eager to allow Flea on a drum to rob the entire world, the more the better. In the past, there was this kind of Star Master that relied on the Thief Star's superb thievery skills to arrive at the 7 Stars Assembly in the end. In actuality, with Su Xing's current situation, to have one person raise more than 10 star generals was an impossible mission. Shi Yuan felt that as the best thief under heaven, she ought to do something. Yuaner, what sort of people did you take action against? Su Xing asked. Shi Yuan patted her chest and proudly said, this young lady is but very professional. They were all some repulsive faces, cultivators of corrupt character. Especially the 10 great sects. The punishment fits their crime. Su Xing scratched his head. The 10 great sects he actually had no opinion on. However, try to not do this sort of thing too much, there's no meaning. Wu Xinjie agreed. And those little cultivators do not have anything valuable. To make the thief star rob them, your predecessors will cry. Shi Yuan stuck out her tongue, and said that she knew. Su Xing did not want to brush away Shi Yuan's good intentions either. He thereupon opened the astral bags, and dazzling items flew out from inside them. Voila! A large pile of items poured out. Knives, tridents, swords, halberds, bows, arrows, maces, mirrors, whisks, gems and pearls, jade strips and books, banners and pennants, even a pile of breathtaking rare talismans and medicines. There was the faint fluctuation of an auspicious sign. With a glance, these were all exceptional goods. Cultivators that could come to the treasure banquet naturally came prepared. All of the things they brought were much better than normal. However, as far as the already supervoid stage Su Xing was concerned, these things were not worth looking at. Actually, several ghost soul pearls made Su Xing too intrigued. He currently had 3 ghost soul pearls. With 9 ghost soul pearls he could refine a 9 infants level nether ability. Su Xing currently was worried about this. Using the ghost soul pearls to cultivate, and then using other things afterwards, perhaps he could take up that ghost god's bane. Regarding that ghost god's bane, Su Xing always could not forget about it, but the accumulated yin energy was too heavy, and Su Xing was unable to endure. Ah! The reclusive solitary star Tang Lianxin suddenly shouted. What's the matter? Lianxin? Su Xing asked with concern. Elder brother. Tang Lianxin pointed to one item on the table, her tone slightly shaking. Su Xing had never seen Tang Lianxin like this. His expression changed, and he looked at what she indicated. Under some talismans was a glaze-like multicolored shard. It was somewhat pretty. He seemed to have seen this shard somewhere before. Su Xing thought carefully, and recalled that when he was originally at the spider cave, he had found one piece from a cultivator. Su Xing took it out and compared. The style and luster were practically the same. The colored glass twinkled with stars, appearing very beautiful in the night. Elder brother also has another shard? Tang Lianxin said in shock. What is it? Su Xing curiously asked. When he uttered these words, all of wives stared oddly at him. Did I say something wrong? Su Xing wiped his sweat. Hua Wanyua pursed her lips. She wanted to laugh. I truly do not dare believe that the Star Master who contracted the majestic star is surprisingly unable to recognize even a star shard. Star shard. Too, this new noun made Su Xing a bit confused. Wanyue, young lord is not like other star masters. Wu Xinjie helped him out. She was aware that when Su Xing originally contracted Linning he did not even know about the thing called the star duels. Star shards are used to upgrade star weapons. Tang Lianxin explained. This can be used to upgrade them? This was the first time Su Xing had heard of this. Tang Lianxin nodded. Star shards were very famous in Liangshan continent. As everyone knew, the number of stars on the star weapon of Maiden Mountain's 108 star maidens was extremely important, even enough to settle the course of a star duel. The advancement of a star weapon naturally was the crux of any one star master's chances for victory in a star duel. And to upgrade a star weapon other than the destined star weapon itself, and some requisite spirit sands and spirit stones, there was also two other ways. One was the 3 heavenly books of the 4th phase. The other was the star shard. Using a star shard to upgrade a star weapon was very simple. 1 star shard could upgrade by 1 star, 2 by 2 stars, and each star level's fragment would multiply. For example, to ascend to 10 star only required 20 star shards to be enough. Of course, the simplicity of star weapon upgrade with star shards had its own shortcoming, and this was effective time. Not only was a star shard upgraded star weapon even more taxing on a star general's star energy, its manifestation time was very short. However, legend said that a star shard had a certain probability of dropping after a star general's starfall. These shards would scatter over Liangshan continent, enough to count on fingers, so they were very rare. 3 star shards were completely worthless to cultivators, but they were priceless to star masters and star generals. The treasure banquet was called the last banquet for star masters in the star duels. Naturally, there would be cultivators fortunate enough to have obtained a star shard who came to strike it rich. Su Xing counted. In addition to his own star shard, he happened to possess 7 shards. This could allow Wuxia or the other girls temporarily raise their star weapon to level 5. He was still off by 5 to be able to allow Lin Yingmei's star weapon to reach 6 star. If we possess a 7 star, before the trial of the 7th overlord Husanyang, this will be of enormous help to dear husband. Bright Star Hunyangzi was moved. Before the 7th generation star duels, the highest recorded star weapon was 6 star. If Lin Yingmei reaches 7 star in addition to having them, they completely had no need to fear the overlord. So that is why. Wu Xinjie chuckled. So that is why she should go and steal some more? Su Xing wrinkled his brow, hesitant. This was too contrary to his own values, but he was very clear that being stubborn now would only bring trouble. A strand of hair lay across Hua Wanyue's lips. She seemed to smile, very fond and appreciative of Su Xing's awkward expression. However, what made the hero star disappointed was that Su Xing was not embarrassed for too long. He immediately made a decision. Since these star shards are born from starfalls, isn't using them for an exchange somewhat dirty? Heh, how about this then? Xinjie, you and Yuan ask around if you have time. If there are star shards, take them. If there aren't, return the astral bag to the owner, and then it won't count as stealing. Ha! Hua Wanyue was speechless. This man was quite shameless, to unexpectedly be able to find this kind of proper and righteous excuse. She was unable to retort. Su Xing, you are so sly, Wu, so smart. Sure, Yuan happily hugged Su Xing, dancing and gesticulating in joy. To be able to be useful, the girl's heart brimmed with happiness. Qingci and Qiongyu walked through the blue jade corridors of their residence palace. The former currently was discussing the purpose of this trip with jade-armed craftsman Jin Daijian, and killer star Li Longkue was still expressionless, her hidden baleful aura following behind, her footsteps very soft. Qiongyu, what are the chances this time? Qingci gently asked. Relax, elder sister. Qiongyu today shall go to the Heaven East District. There are more precious stones than you can imagine, however, every one of those cultivators are straw bags, unable to refine jade and stones. They cannot see the worth of those gems. Qiongyu has certainty she can buy some. Qiongyu sneered. Lu Feng and Guoshui are at the Earth South District. They should be able to find an abundance of star weapon material. This is good. Qingci slightly nodded her head. This treasure banquet was a major event. Everything needed to be arranged appropriately. For the sake of being able to scale Maiden Mountain in the future, to end the star duels, they could not be careless. However, elder sister, refining those spirit jade will perhaps consume much of elder sister's capital. Although the Nine Dragons place has done all it can to fully support you, this is still a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. Qiongyu is fully aware that many high-grade star weapon materials have already been turned over to the Crystal Dragon Palace to auction. Over the next few days, many star shards will be sold at auction. Qiongyu wrinkled her brow. By the jade-armed craftsman's calculations, at least 1 trillion liang would be consumed to possibly be able to upgrade the star weapons of the two great martial generals Fiery Thunderbolt Qin Mingyue and 9 tattooed dragons Shijingluan to 6-star. The other sisters would be at least 5-star. If this could not be done, they did not have good odds against the purple thunder monster. Noble star Little Whirlwind Chaijin is known as Liangshan's richest. Her capital numbers in the tens of millions. Although she cannot participate in the star duels, regarding the other star masters, she can only use the help the needy for justice method, but elder sister's status is different. Perhaps we can find Chaijin for a negotiation. In Qionyu's perspective, so long as elder sister shows clear intentions, Chaijin will definitely join elder sister's uprising. With the noble star's aid, we will be like tigers that grew wings. Then, the purple thunder monsters Lin Chong and Wu Song will certainly regret things. Qionyu's eyes flashed with a stern glare. Qingci has a plan. Qingci tenderly asked. Qiongyu, you seem to be very biased against Su Xing? Of course he is but our great enemy. In the future star duels, we will inevitably fight each other to the death. Qiongyu was grim. But if his objective is the same as ours? Qingci continued to ask. Jade-armed craftsman sneered, full of disdain. In her eyes, all star masters exploited them. To think of obtaining the wish, only to treat it as a tool, trust? That was an extremely ridiculous idea. Elder sister, you must not disappoint Qiongyu. Qiongyu sternly said. Qingci smiled and gently nodded. It was unclear if this was her answer or something else. Walking several steps, the song of a melodious flute suddenly drifted over through the night. Qingci and the others stopped, showing astonishment. The sound of a flute reverberated through the coral palace, drawn out and winding, occasionally warm as a light breeze, occasionally as smooth as flowing water. The fishes were intoxicated from listening, practically forgetting to swim in the coral palace's surroundings. Even the song of the earth spirits could not compare. The melodious and distant tune made Qingci feel that she enchanted, so much so that she forgot she was still speaking with Qiongyu. Qiongyu was briefly surprised. She had never seen Qingci so cultured and poetic. She herself merely felt this was pleasant to listen to, yet she would never investigate why it sounded so good. She said something else and then left. Compared to the song, The sounds of Jade upgrading the star weapons of her sisters was far more pleasant to listen to for the skillful star Jade armed craftsman. To be able to play out such a heavenly tune, it should be Iron Flute deity Ma Lin. Longkue, let us go pay her a visit. Qingci showed a bit of curiosity. Although she knew many cultivators resided in the Coral Palace, and that there were even star generals who could be future enemies, this tune had a sort of unprecedented airiness that made Qingci for the first time boldly think of personally listening. The crystal willow trees were like snow. On one tree, a man currently played a flute. That flute was sparkling and translucent. The tune that flew out of the fluttering hole blew up a gentle wind, twisting and coiling about beside the man. A girl bursting with a heroic air was below the tree, her black hair fluttering as she listened to the song, captivated. The player was naturally Su Xing, and the flute in his hand was the destined star weapon Phoenix Cry Wind concentrating flute of Iron Flute deity Ma Lin. The jade flute glittered with a luster, and one faint star glimmered like a fairy. The sequence of events leading to this was somewhat long, but after Su Xing finished a night of cultivation, he was compelled by the Dragon Palace's quiet atmosphere to reminisce. Afterwards, he and Lining Mei reminisced in the courtyard, chatting about some trifles of the star duels as he rested. Then, Lining Mei mentioned Iron Flute deity Ma Lin. This was the first star general that made the majestic star regret killing her. Su Xing knew that the previous majestic star's opponents were often top-notch martial generals. Average sisters were like Jade Qilin Lu Xiao, no need at all to deliver a killing blow. However, after signing a contract, everything would naturally change. Su Xing asked Lining Mei whether or not she felt wronged. The answer was a shake of her head. Su Xing smiled. Thereupon, he thought of using Iron Flute deity Ma Xiaoxiao's Phoenix Cry Wind concentrating flute to play a tune. Su Xing originally was pretty good at the flute, and this destined star weapon had undergone enchantment. The melody he blew was more cacophonic. That melody's cadence slowly wound around, as if it could make someone place themselves into ancient times. There was emotion, heroism, mystery, intimacy. One song was filled with legend, sublimating that 1,000 years of star duels into its melody, sounding lost. Even Lining Mei was engrossed, unable to extricate herself. Suddenly, Lining Mei's eyes opened, recovering their clarity. The majestic star's right hand summoned and grabbed her spear as she coldly glared at a corner of the courtyard. A graceful woman who seemed to have come from a painting walked out. Her beauty was indescribable. Since I am obliged by your favor and care, it is good that you are my master. For the cinnabar heaven 10,000 li away, what harm is there in seeking it together? Forever abandoned, bright partner. To avoid others seeing me, move towards the cloudy evening rain. Little sister Ma Lin's melody is even more moving than the legends say. In your song, your servant heard little sister's laments. Are you helpless? Qingci lifted her head to gaze at the tree. All of her attention was already drawn in by the figure playing the flute. The player did not answer. Qingci continued to speak. Does little sister Ma Lin have some other way of thinking about the star duels? Wind rose. The crystal tree's snow flowers perked, falling down in a sprinkle. Gracefully walking over, a figure appeared from the tree's shadow, and Qingci was stunned. The flute player was not a woman. A man? A man she was familiar with. Qingci's heart pounded, and her slight smile faded. Qingci, you flatter me. Su Xing slightly smiled, hopping down from the tree. Young Lord Su Xing, why is it you? Qingci stared at the jade flute in Su Xing's hand. Her smile was very forced. The Phoenix Cry Wind concentrating flute. It seems little sister Ma Lin has already met her end by young lord's hand? Su Xing heard Qingci's disappointment in her voice. He vaguely understood, and he responded without changing his expression. My wife and Ma Xiaoxiao were somewhat at an impasse. Today, I was somewhat in the mood to reminisce, and I was unable to help but play a tune on the Phoenix Cry Wind concentrating flute. If I have disturbed Qingci, then I beg your pardon. Your servant truly did not expect that Lord Su's melody would surprisingly be played so pleasantly for the ears. Your servant was even a bit enraptured. Qingci's voice was soft. Your servant wonders what this song of Lord Su's is named. I haven't thought of a name yet. Qingci, the poem you recited just now was named, Wild Immortal Pull? 2. Why not name it Wild Immortal Pull then? Su Xing pondered. Wild Immortal Pull. Qingci muttered. Does Qingci also live in the Coral Palace? We truly are bound by fate. It just so happens that I have something that I wanted to consult with you. Su Xing said. The Li Longkui to the side could not stand watching any longer. She explosively shouted, her baleful aura swelling, the 4-star bereaved immortal lofty slaughter grasped in her hand. She swung it in a circle before pouncing towards Su Xing, yelling, Do not deceive elder sister. The killer star attacked without so much as another word, and the axe tore a wave of murderous intent that slashed at Su Xing's chest. Longkui, you may not. Qingci shouted. Regarding the berserk killer star, Su Xing already had a defense. He used the light smoke dance steps body technique, leaning his body to dodge this swing. Li Longkui's expression was violent and menacing. Her second horizontal swing aimed at his torso. Her method could be even said to be merciless. If it was before, Su Xing inevitably would cut a sorry figure being occupied with facing this killer star martial general's attack, but the recent training he received was not fake, let alone that he had already experienced battle with true Phoenix Realm overlords. Su Xing was neither rushed nor slow, and he evaded again. Li Longkui's legs straddled, and her body bolted forward, her speed extremely quick. A frightening baleful aura pounced directly at his face. If it was any other supervoid cultivator, just being taken by the killer star's momentum at close range was enough to shake them. Li Longkui lifted the bereaved immortal lofty slaughter, and swung left and right. Su Xing flipped into the air, stepping on the axe head in passing, like a dragonfly skimming the water. Su Xing teased her. Longkui, your elder sister wants you to stop, will you still fight? Hey. Li Longkui's eyes were thoroughly red. The bereaved immortal lofty slaughter manifested countless axe shadows, and the billowing murderous aura was even more terrible. Dark rank axe technique. Wild dance of demons and gods? Su Xing's figure swiftly retreated. He was not arrogant enough to personally experience a heavenly star's dark technique. Li Longkui gave chase. Li Kui, do not be savage. Lin Yingmei coldly grinned, suddenly revolting. The Arctic Star Serpent Spear's 5 stars flowed. Lin Yingmei blocked in front of Su Xing, and seeing that spear sweep left and right to suppress Li Longkui, the Panther Head's ice-cold spearmanship howled like a blizzard. The spear light was sudden. Li Longkui completely did not see it, and she hefted the bereaved immortal lofty slaughter to defend. The 5-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear's might was ample. Each strike forced the killer star back a step. Her spearmanship bolted like a thunderclap, its momentum like a gale. How could Li Longkui be Lin Yingmei's opponent? But after several dozen exchanges, killer star Black Whirlwind Li Kui was unable to oppose her. With a bang, the dense spear tip already pressed against Li Longkui's soft throat. So long as Lin Yingmei was willing, she could make the killer star starfall at any time she wished. If you dare take another step forward, your servant shall kill you, Lin Yingmei coldly said. Li Longkui was furious. She felt this was a complete loss. How could she accept blackmail? Longkui. Qingci yelled. Only then did this stop the killer star. Li Longkui angrily withdrew to behind Qingci, but she stared mercilessly at Su Xing, 5-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear. Little sister Yingmei is truly formidable. Qingci's eyebrows rose. Her birth treasure outline manifested. Extreme Realm 5th stage. Her eyes flashed with astonishment. Su Xing was somewhat pensive when he saw that birth treasure outline. Qingci apologizes for Longkui. We have disturbed Lord Su's elegant mood. Qingci retracted the book, bowing her body in apology. Little sister Longkui's temperament is just a bit impulsive, however. She means well for you, Qingci. Su Xing looked at Li Longkui and smiled. Qingci pursed her vermilion lips. She gracefully prepared to leave. Qingci shall excuse herself for now. Wait a moment, Su Xing suddenly called. Seeing Li Longkui's whole body in a vigilant posture stretched taut, he thought to himself that this was amusing. Does Lord Su have some other matters? Qingci said softly. Did Qingci really like Big Brother's flute just now? Qingci did not expect that Su Xing would ask this. She slowly nodded, her heart calm. She had thought that was played by Ma Lin. The flute contained every sort of emotion about the star duels. Qingci could clearly hear that. She had originally thought that Iron Flute deity loathed the star duels. Yet she did not expect it was in Su Xing's hands. Could it be he truly planned to end the star duels? Since this wild immortal pull has received the name of Little Sister Qingci's poem, this is considered our performance, but it isn't complete yet. It's a bit of a pity. Why not let's work together to finish it? Su Xing's eyes turned somewhat pensive. Qingci was taken aback. Is little sister Qingci unwilling to do me this honor? Wasn't little sister Qingci moved by the song just now? Su Xing knew that their relationship was somewhat not too normal, and he wanted to find this opportunity to get close to her. The man taking the initiative had a chance. Besides, Su Xing felt that Qingci's status was not like the others. But Qingci only knows a tune on the guqin. Then that's actually perfect. Su Xing smiled. Elder sister. Liangshan voiced her dissatisfaction. Qingci shook her head. Fine, Qingci is indeed fond of this song. For Lord Su to not turn his back, your servant is thankful. Afterwards, Qingci brought out the bayan zither. She set it along the ground, her slender fingers plucking the strings. Qingci's skills were like her own person, picturesque and magnificent. With just a pluck, the strings reverberated sweetly, suddenly making Su Xing have a sort of illusion of traveling through time as he filled with warmth. Su Xing suddenly recalled an unforgettable text message he had once received on Earth, and he subconsciously said, Little sister Qingci, this qin made me remember a text message. Text message. Lining Mei Qingci and Liangshan showed confusion. Ahem, it's a very long verse. Su Xing perspired. Your servant wonders what that verse is to be so unforgettable to young lord. Qingci curiously asked. Su Xing clearly said. 1,000 years before, I was the string you plucked apart. Traveling through time, I bring the lingering warmth of your finger in reincarnation to bond with you. There is nothing lavish, merely ordinary warmth. In passing years, I know that our companionship will last a day longer than eternity. Qingci merely felt this verse was odd, yet full of ambiguity. Young Lord Su Xing, you truly think highly of Qingci. Qingci also happens to have a verse to give little sister Yingmei. Qingci gazed at Lin Yingmei, her heart moving. She softly recited. 1,000 years before, our dissipated life was in perfect harmony. Wandering through reincarnation, I bring my pledge to meet you again in this life. There is nothing eternal, merely every second of our company. In passing thoughts, I pray that our story will finally end. Lin Yingmei's pupils suddenly contracted. How could Lin Yingmei not hear the meaning of Qingci's words? Clearly, she was saying that she had come to end the star duels for the sake of the sisters, and the person destined to do so seemed to be her. Su Xing thought, fine, I haven't seduced you yet, but you're actually seducing my wife. His eyes oddly flickered, and he said, Little sister Qiongyu is creative as expected, to have unexpectedly responded in an instant. Your servant was inspired. Lord Su is being ridiculous. Qingci slightly bowed. Su Xing said nothing more. Afterwards, their harmony progressed very smoothly. Qingci's guqin mastery was at the peak of perfection. Her slim fingers plucked the strings, the sound crisp as a chime stone, entering the ear, adding a picturesque charm to Su Xing's flute. The originally solemn millennial legendary flute followed the accompaniment of Qingci's guzheng. In a split second, it was full of an unprecedented happiness, sounding enchanted. The melodious flute echoed in the choral palace. Following the undulations that brought them into the boundless eras, the clear and suave flute reverberated, harmonizing with the guqin. The flute even carried a bit of warmth. Lin Yingmei was lost in the music, and even killer star Liangshan had a rarely seen calm. In the flute, their minds seemed to have seen this scene. The girls descended from Maiden Mountain, the absolute beauties in the lofty Liangshan continent. They wielded swords, severing Liangshan. They gripped spears, warring everywhere. They were Maiden Mountain's 108 star maidens. When the song reached its final climax, their figures sublimated into Liangshan's legends, and were carved forever into history. The expansive to the extreme music finally left behind a melancholic note. The song ended. A long silence. Even the cold and mercilessly Long Kuei stared at Su Xing with complete astonishment. Su Xing took a deep breath, storing the phoenix cry wind concentrating flute away. To be able to harmonize with Lord Su for a song, Qingci is satisfied. It appears that Lord Su has very deep sentiments about the star duels as well. If only in the future 7 Stars Assembly, we can still have a chance to be like today. Qingci sighed and put away the Lianxin. Su Xing disagreed. So long as you yourself are willing, how can this be difficult at all? Qingci smiled yet said nothing. Seeing Qingci prepare to depart, Su Xing asked, Qingci, there's something I've always wanted to ask you. Qingci wonders what that is. Qingci turned around. Regarding the matter of leader star song Jiang, what do you feel? Su Xing gazed at Qingci's eyes, his expression seemingly like a sword about to stab into that lake-like tranquility. The young girl that was as elegant as China remained unmoved. As usual, the corner of her lips slightly curled. Lord Su, why do you ask this? This generation's leader star, you ought to know her, don't you, Qingci? Su Xing asked. Your servant does not. Does young Lord Su Xing wish to kill her? Qingci was still elegant as a poem, but her tone clearly was a little cold. Ever since the star duels began, the leader star protector of righteousness Song Jiang acting as the first rank had always been at the front of the most bitter struggle, the focus of anyone's comments. The head of Maiden Mountain's 108 star maidens was unable to escape the attention of others, and ever since Song Jiang revealed her reputation of incompetence, matters regarding her became the laughingstock of the people. Killing the leader star thus became a matter second only to ascending Maiden Mountain. Therefore, if one could not scale Maiden Mountain, they could still achieve fame in Liangshan continent by killing the star general, who was head of the heavenly stars. And the fates of the past Song Jiangs could be said to be miserable. From the head of the heavenly stars down to the last of the earthly stars, they had the experience of being disgraced. The sole exception was the 8th generation of star duels. The 8th generation star duels could be said to have multiple variables. Not only did a 9-star destined weapon Wusong appear in that generation, Song Jiang in the records of that generation apparently had a pleasant journey, and even contracted with a sword cultivator. Afterwards, that Song Jiang even brought about an inconceivable variable in the star duels. In the end, she star released and bestowed all of her star power in its entirety to that sword cultivator. Thus, she star fell at the same time. This could be said to have shaken Liangshan. When Su Xing mentioned Song Jiang's name, Qingci subconsciously deduced that he was prying into the leader star's powerful star energy. No, I want to ask Qingci your views on Song Jiang. Su Xing's expression was serious. Qingci evidently did not understand why Su Xing would mention the leader star. She thought about it slightly, but her heart was still a bit guarded and said, what does young lord want to obtain from Qingci's perspective? This generation's Song Jiang has yet to starfall, but neither have I heard even a trace of her. Qingci, what do you think? In the star duels, of the significance of the head of star generals Song Jiang? Perhaps she has some ability to not be detected. Qingci pondered. What ability does little sister Qingci think that is? Qingci smiled. Your servant does not know this but wonders what perspective Lord Su has. Qingci wants to hear it. I feel Song Jiang may be the most important point of the star duels. Su Xing honestly replied. She definitely is concealing some information about Maiden Mountain on her. Perhaps it is something that can change the slaughter of the star duels. Even Lining Mei was surprised by his words. The majestic star looked at Su Xing in astonishment. She did not expect that Su Xing would surprisingly was still concerned about the matter of the Song Jiang had never met in the star duels, and her heart was somewhat touched. Qingci was stunned. Her high brows knitted together into a knot. Why would young lord feel that the incompetent Song Jiang would be the crux of the star duels? Very simple, Nash equilibrium. Su Xing declared. Qingci was at an even greater loss. That was equilibrium? What the hell? Game theory's famous theory of Nash equilibrium. Suppose there are n participants in a game. Given the strategy of the other players, each player will choose the Nash equilibrium that is most optimal, thus maximizing their own benefit. The strategies of all participants form a combination of strategies. Su Xing saw Qingci's stunned appearance and fake coughed. There's a difference. Games can be treated as the star duels, the participants, star generals. Since Maiden Mountain has arranged for the stars to fight, then naturally, there will be one equilibrium theory. And with the current Song Jiang, Qingci must also know that the leader star is very incompetent, unable to compare to even an earthly star. Seeing Qingci mechanically nod, Su Xing continued to say, then it goes without saying, the difference in Song Jiang could only have one reason. What reason? Qingci found she could not keep up with Su Xing's line of thought. This is that she is an important factor of the star duels. This factor's existence caused the head of the 108 star maidens Song Jiang's capabilities to be substantially impaired. This is the law of equilibrium. 2. Before they could even retort, Su Xing spoke again. There is another important reason that I have these thoughts regarding Song Jiang's difference. Qingci's eyes were full of confusion. Song Jiang signing a contract will expose her position to all star generals, and her starfall will be a sky full of glittering stars. Why don't the other star generals have this treatment? Is it only because she is the first ranked? I don't think so. It must be because of this hidden law of equilibrium. Maiden Mountain would only do this if it was planning something. So I think Song Jiang is very important to the star duels. Su Xing concluded his speech. Lin Mei, Qingci and Li Longkui were already dumb as wooden chickens, petrified. Young master, what are you saying? Lin Mei sobered up, feeling as if she had listened to something obscure. Su Xing's theory truly made Lin Mei feel shocked and impressed. And only people who cared about the star duels would pay attention to this kind of detail, right? The corner of Lin Mei's lips rose, and her heart brimmed with warmth. Extravagant words, a glib tongue. Li Longkui closed her mouth, unwilling to allow herself to feel any admiration for this man. Even in death. Qingci was pensive, bewildered as she looked indefinitely at Su Xing. Young lord's thoughts truly makes my daughter 3 impressed. Qingci has never thought of this aspect in this way. Qingci noticed that the body of the man before her seemed to have a mist, mysterious, impenetrable. But has young lord not thought that perhaps Maiden Mountain's 108 will just have an incompetent leader star that allows earthly star sisters to kill and take her star energy? Qingci's conjecture was not without logic. Leader star Song Jiang's star energy was unmatched. If an earthly star killed her, she could substantially increase star energy to heavenly star levels. Her realm and martial arts can also improve, so the past Song Jiangs have always been the appetizers for earthly stars. Perhaps this is what timely rain means. Qingci's smile was a bit sad. I've thought of this before. Su Xing conceded. But after seeing little sister Qingci's uprising, I suddenly recalled that Song Jiang has another title called Protector of Righteousness. 5. Qingci was taken aback, her smile like a summer flower. Does young lord believe that Qingci is Song Jiang? Are you Qingci? Su Xing asked back. If your servant truly is Song Jiang, then would that not be somewhat strange? Why would the previous Song Jiang not have heard of the uprising? Qingci slightly smiled. It was precisely this point that Su Xing was unable to make sense of. Regardless whether you are Song Jiang or not, Qingci, your servant will treat you as his own little sister. This does not matter. Su Xing disapproved. Then many thanks for Lord Su's concern. Qingci was neither forceful nor placant. It appeared she did not want to probe further about the Song Jiang topic. She wanted to end this conversation. Su Xing's eyes turned, and he smiled. Qingci, do you want to solve the mystery of the star duels? Lord Su is somewhat strange tonight. Is it because of that tune? Qingci wrinkled her brow. Su Xing flipped out the birth treasure outline. He advanced steadily towards Qingci. That golden book flipped, radiating golden light. But this book that purportedly knew all information about a star general nevertheless showed no response towards Qingci. Seeing the beauty was somewhat irritated, Su Xing said. Your servant heard Xinjie mention before that the 4 birth treasure outlines of the 4 territories conceal all the mysteries of the star duels. So long as the 4 books are pieced together, one can know all secrets of the star duels. But Qingci knows as well that because the past star masters were incompatible as fire and water, the 4 birth treasure outlines could not possibly combine. So I wish to invite Qingci to help me. to see whether or not the birth treasure outlines can combine. Is this also Lord Su's equilibrium? Everything must have a reason to exist. An extremely unlikely possibility is still a possibility, isn't it? Su Xing said. Qingci, could it be you don't want to know the secret of the star duels? Perhaps we can see something with 2 birth treasure outlines. Why should we believe the words of a man with a silver tongue? Li Longkue glowered. Su Xing extended his hand, directly floating the birth treasure outline to Qingci. Something like an astral treasure that relied on divine intent control did not need refinement. At this moment, so long as Qingci willed it, she could reach out and be able to steal this book. Su Xing was precisely using this method to express his trust for her. Young Lord Su's methods truly are formidable. Qingci wants to decline, but will appear to be a heartless person. Qingci forced a smile. This is serious. My wives are indebted to profound love, and I only want to help them satisfy their wish to end the star duels. Su Xing slightly sighed. Qingci kept silent and flipped out her birth treasure outline. Su Xing's eyes flashed with a strange glint. Su Xing's words were stuck in the middle of Qingci's mind. Because Qingci's wish was to end the star duels, she desired more than anyone else did a reason for the star duel's existence. Su Xing's conjecture about the 4 birth treasure outline was merely a means, but Qingci did not doubt him. Seeing Su Xing already bring out his birth treasure outline, she also prepared to do the same. Li Longkue grunted to stop her. She still maintained absolute hostility towards Su Xing's glib tongue, his flowery words. Qingci shook her head. Perhaps she felt Su Xing was worth her trust, or perhaps due to the sight of the sisters following Su Xing so dearly, or perhaps for some other reason. In short, Qingci gestured with her hand to summon the birth treasure outline. The 2 books of golden characters hovered, orbiting each other like stars. Golden light twinkled, and the book pages flipped rapidly though there was no wind. After a moment, there were no changes at all. Qingci was somewhat disappointed and recalled the treasure outline. Looks like we may need all 4 in order to work. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Qingci shook her head. This is perhaps a mission impossible to achieve. The Black Turtle Territory's birth treasure outline is with the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, and the White Tiger Territories has already disappeared. Xinjie mentioned that the White Tiger Territory's book is in the hands of a star master named Han Bing. Her star general is heaven-shaking Thunder Liangshan. Lin Mei said. Qingci showed a grateful smile, however. She still felt that this complete set of 4 birth treasure outlines was not too likely. The 2 chatted for a while longer. And then seeing that the day was already late, they departed. Su Xing kept watching that picturesque back until it disappeared. Only then did he put away his ponderings. Young lord. She has already left. Lin Mei pursed her lips. Ingmei, she's Song Jiang as I expected. Su Xing expressionlessly said. Lin Mei was startled. She blinked at Su Xing. Your servant also feels that this Qingci is different from the rest, but the past Song Jiang have never had uprising. Su Xing smiled and shook his head. He pointed with his hand, and the birth treasure outline flew in front of them. The pages fluttered until it reached the first page. He looked at this page in deep contemplation. Lin Mei walked forward and looked. Immediately the majestic star was shocked. A row of golden characters had already appeared on that first page. This is... Lin Mei shuddered. Everything is truly miserable because our successor assassin star generals were all killed first as a priority by tacit understanding. Xuanla Feifei slowly walked about the Crystal Palace. Her hands held up several scrolls that she had just bought from a store. This treasure banquet was fine, for Xuanla Feifei very easily understood the rough knowledge regarding the star duels after the 4th generation. Wuyu wanted to know who else could ascend after them assassins, but they had taken one look only to discover that because Xuanla Feifei's 3rd watch, assassinations were universally shocking, unblockable. By the time the 7 Stars Assembly began, there already was not a single trace of an assassin left. Afterwards, there was never again any assassin star general that could ascend. These star masters were honestly dirty. Wuyu gloomily hung her face. Although she knew that the later star duels had nothing to do with them, To know that the sisters that held the same ranks they did had fallen to such a degree, any star general would feel anger. Are the star duels not dirty? Wuyu dully agreed. Wuyu remained silent. Shall we find this generation's assassins, help out our down-and-out sisters? Fairy Xuanla pondered. Although she was a trace of true spirit, she had her own consciousness to do as she pleased. Though her time was not long, it was enough to do some things that, so long as they did not disturb this generation's star duels, and that Chao Gai, she believed Maiden Mountain would not object. The Wuyu and Wuyu sisters undoubtedly approved. Regarding their so-called trial, they completely disregarded Su Xing, putting him neither in their eyes nor on their mind. Rather than go do this sort of boring assignment, it was better to help this generation's assassins to ascend Maiden Mountain and wash away the disgrace of investigative star unrestrained and guardian star little restrained. This was a trip well worthwhile. Fairy Xuanla slightly smiled. Just as she debated how to go about this, suddenly, she heard the leisurely sounds of a flute and melodious qin. The two kinds of instruments were in perfect harmony. The song never stopped, and it was captivating. Fairy Xuanla closed her eyes to listen. She had been born in Heavenly Sound Valley, and was inherently quite skilled with music. Her own flying swords were the Crown Prince Long Qin Heavenly Sound Swords. Listening, she felt that the qin and flute combination brimmed with elegance, ease and remote heroism. Those like Xuanla Feifei who had passed through the cruel star duels and ascended felt particularly intense, and even the Mu sisters were moved. Xuanla Feifei seemed to recall that scene as if it had happened just yesterday, especially when she brazenly picked a fight with the alliance of majestic star Lin Chong and Wu Song, making a narrow escape. In that battle, both Mu sisters were sent back into the star nest, and Xuanla Feifei was hard-pressed into nearly starfalling. But in the end, she still emerged victorious and in that battle laid the path for herself to become overlord. Unknowingly, Xuanla Feifei's eyes had become wet. Only after the flute and qin music ended did she recover her composure. It seems a pair of star cultivators acting as a couple has appeared in this generation. Xuanla Feifei heard the tacit understanding and ambition in the players' harmony. Her lips curled, carrying a slight sorrow. However, what use is that? In the end, only one can live to be overlord, to ascend, correct? Fairy Wuyu and Wuyu showed concern. Fairy Xuanla smiled, hinting to them that they did not need to worry. She originally wanted to see the combination of that couple, but it now seemed she would never find them. The ancient flower's fall can increase aroma. Wind and rain completely blow hate away. Yet it hides away passion. Back and forth, who pities the fallen flower? Ask the gentleman to collaborate to the end of the world. See not the gentleman's answer. In the drawn-out night, the gentle song echoed, carrying an unshakable melancholy. Chai Ling came to the Crystal Dragon Palace on the second day of the treasure banquet. The Great Circle Castle's power naturally did not need explaining. The Crystal Dragon Palace specially arranged for a lone, noble star palace, for the Great Circle Castle's noble star. This noble star Little Whirlwind Chai Ling nevertheless was extremely low profile. There was no ceremony, and other than Qingci and Yuya, there were now an additional 2 women beside her. Kong Ho and a girl who, at first glance, appeared a bit ditzy. Duang, do you actually want to go? Chai Ling stroked Xinger, gently asking as she raised her brows. That girl clad in black skin-tight clothes had a black panther laying at her feet. She was guardian star Little Restrained Mu Duang. Many thanks for elder sister's concern. This time, I will definitely kill elder sister. Mu Duang clenched her fist and swore. Suddenly she felt this sentence was phrased a bit wrongly, and she immediately waved her hands to clear things up. Duang does not want to kill elder sister, but Duang is too eager to kill elder sister. And said it like this, wait, no Aya. Chai Ling was speechless. Ever since she saved the guardian star, she knew that the assassin in front of her was quite imbecile tier. She truly was very worried whether that Mu Duang would get lost just by walking could truly accomplish what she wanted. Seeing Mu Duang was flustered, Chai Ling sweetly smiled. This palace knows. The one you want to kill is investigative star Unrestrained Mu Hong. This palace has already heard you mention it numerous times. I, Duang, definitely will surpass elder sister. Mu Duang was resolute. Chai Ling wanted very much to laugh. She truly did not understand just where the confidence of this little sister came from. She was obviously an earthly star assassin, but she unexpectedly wanted to challenge a heavenly star assassin. Furthermore, she did not have a contract. Truly, she had overinflated guts. Your chances of victory are but very low. Even if you lose your life, have you planned for this? Chai Ling seriously asked. She was unable to interfere in a star duel, and could only cheer from the sidelines. Yes, and Duang has already promised someone else that I would achieve it. Duang will go do this even if I lose my life. Mu Duang was earnest. You unexpectedly would believe in an idiot star master's words. Chai Ling knew that Mu Duang would do this because she met with the assistance of a star master in Evil Smiting Hall, while capturing her star beast. She swore an oath to that man. And the result was that Chai Ling could not dissuade her no matter what. In the future, she would have Su Xing go mercilessly teach that man a lesson. 3. He is no idiot, he treated Duang very well. Mu Duang stuck out her lip, somewhat unhappy. Chai Ling smiled wryly. Then good. Do your best. Although this palace cannot interfere in the star duels, she can help you prepare several things to save your life. If you cannot defeat her, then flee. Yuya stepped forward and produced a treasure box. There were 2 purple talismans on it. Mu Duang blinked. This talisman is a supreme grade Bagua Temple in Heaven talisman. And this is a Seeking Heaven talisman. 5. If you encounter danger, then open the box and use the 2 talismans. It can temporarily preserve your life. Chai Ling said. The noble star carried an air of queenly dignity, not accepting any refusal. Thank you, elder sister. Mu Duang was somewhat embarrassed. Take care of yourself. If you want to find a star master, this palace can introduce you. He but has Wusong. Chai Ling opened her golden thread feather fan with a kind of sly smile. No way. If I sign a contract, I would be the same as elder sister. Mu Duang giggled. Then she waved her hand and quickly departed. The Room Black Panther became a dark shadow and slinked away. Chai Ling actually was somewhat fond of this dumb little assassin. Those 2 talismans, one opens the temple in Heaven's Bagua, and the other transmits the user's whereabouts. Chai Ling, are you planning to help Su Xing receive the little sister? Kong Ho said. Chai Ling did not answer. Milady, a woman named Qingci requests an audience. She says that she has something important related to the star duels she would like to discuss with you. Jinji said. Qingci a sister? Chai Ling nodded. Regarding the visit of any sister, the noble star treated everyone equally and would not decline them. A moment later, a picturesque woman daintily walked forth. Her aromatic scent wafted, filling the cart. Even Chai Ling was taken aback. Her gaze concentrated, and she extended a hand to pet Xinger, lowering her brow in deep thought. Little sister Chai Ling, I trust you have been well. Qingci was very refined. Before her, Chai Ling found that her own noble star queenly aura had ceased to exist. Qingci clearly was very elegant. Her every smile and frown, her every word and gesture giving Chai Ling pressure. You are. Qingci showed a tender smile. Her hand suddenly brought out a banner. The banner depicted myriad stars descending into a starry river. The palace brightened up. Qingci shook the flag, and a resplendent light flashed, as illusory as if a star general had emerged from a star master's star nest. But the bangs over Qingci's spotlessly white forehead parted, and an absolutely beautiful star crest manifested. Chai Ling's gracefulness disappeared, and she thoroughly lost herself. Impossible. You are leader star Timely Rain Song Jiang. Qingci is leader star Timely Rain Song Jiang. This means her true name is Song Qingci. All of the girls were in disbelief after hearing Su Xing's words. Su Xing nodded. Is this true? Although the uprising is indeed strange, the past Song Jiangs have never gathered such a thing. Hua Wanyue was unconvinced. I do not believe this generation's Song Jiang can change the rules. It is true. Your servant saw young master's birth treasure outline. On it is Qingci's record. Lin Yingmei was serious. All of the girls looked at Su Xing in astonishment. Su Xing did not say anything. He directly flipped out the birth treasure outline and showed the first page. Star position, leader star name, Song Jiang nickname, protector of righteousness / timely rain true name. Song Qingci rank, first star weapon, justice on heaven's behalf uprising gathering banner, 0 star, / heavenly star birth banner, 0 star. 2 star beast, Nun realm, matchless first stage innate skill. Uprising 5 elements, metal / water yellow rank special move, Nun dark rank special move, Nun current status. Uprising, cannot be conquered detailed materials, protector of righteousness, young lord. How did you do this? Wuxia could not close her mouth. Owing to Qingci's uprising, she and Su Xing were skeptical that Qingci was leader star Song Jiang, but at the time, Su Xing had tested the birth treasure outline several times without any reaction. Therefore, despite their doubt, they were always unable to determine this matter. Now that they saw the birth treasure outline manifested completely the leader star protector of righteousness Song Jiang's material, Wuxia still thought that her eyes were deceived. How did it appear this time? Wuxia asked in disbelief. Big brother, was the birth treasure outline not able to show anything? And Suwen was confused. It was actually very simple. Since Su Xing felt that it was extremely likely that Qingci was Song Jiang. The reason that birth treasure outline was unable to show Qingci's information was because there was a magic weapon or such protecting her. Considering the special nature of the birth treasure outline that came from Maiden Mountain, and that there were no records of this kind of data in Liangshan continent, Su Xing hypothesized that Qingci perhaps had a purple star astral treasure, or such that she obtained from the birth treasure outline. Then, when he saw Qingci's birth treasure outline, Su Xing thought of a possibility. Leaving out every complex if possible, or maybe, the biggest reason the birth treasure outline did not show Qingci's information was because Qingci similarly possessed one of the treasure books. According to the Occam's razor principle that Su Xing knew, if not essential, do not overcomplicate. Thus, Su Xing found an excuse to ponder making the birth treasure outline temporarily leave Qingci. When he fooled Qingci by saying that combining the 2 treasure books could reveal a mystery of the star duels, Su Xing was naturally cooking up an excuse. His goal was only to make Qingci bring out her birth treasure outline in accordance with her own will. Then, the result and what he planned would be the same. If Qingci was really Song Jiang, then she inevitably would be related to the star duel's inside secrets. After he showed sincerity, Qingci had no reason or intent to decline. What happened afterwards was much simpler. Without the birth treasure outline on her person, Su Xing's birth treasure outline was able to illuminate Qingci's true identity. After hearing Su Xing's explanation, all of the girls were astonished. Though it seemed simple, how could this be noticed unless he had paid attention to the smallest detail? Uprising. I never imagined this generation's Song Jiang is surprisingly able to start an uprising. Is that not the same as you? Hua Wanyue felt this generation of star duels was somewhat perplexing. Could it truly be the so-called, because 9 brings about variables? Su Xing isn't uprising. We have actual contracts, no need for that kind of trick. Shi Yuan pursed her lips, disapproving. But the Song Jiangs from before have never had uprising? Zhiyu softly asked. This question stumped Su Xing. I fear only Maiden Mountain or Qingci herself knows. Su Xing spread his hands. Did dear husband not ask her? I asked Qingci and she didn't answer. Apparently, she doesn't want anyone to know, so I didn't ask anymore. However, she truly is as young lord surmised. Perhaps Song Jiang indeed is a variable. But Xinjia does not know if she is a blessing or a calamity upon us. Wu Xinjia muttered. The knowledge star was still digesting all the information she just obtained. This information was truly a bit shocking. She never expected that the chief of the star generals Song Jiang would unexpectedly be like Su Xing, able to contract multiple star generals. Just what this never-before-seen uprising in the star duels represented. Wu Xinjia vaguely had an ominous premonition. But now with Su Xing's currently superb star general formation, even if in the future they fell out with Qingci, they had no need to fear. Compared to Song Jiang's uprising, I feel that investigating why you are able to break the rules of the star duels is far more significant. Zhang Feiyu both loved and hated this. Liangshan continent's star duels had never seen such a change in its nearly 1,000 years. Perhaps because I crossed over to Liangshan. That's the reason why I don't have restrictions. How could Su Xing ever say this reason aloud? Since they knew that this generation's Song Jiang had already metamorphosed from incompetent to practically unmatched, all of the girls did not dare to neglect grasping for every second they could. With the 3 heavenly books coming closer and closer, the time they had left was already becoming short. I am Yueing little sister's honorable name? 3. The shopkeepers, this Tai essence gold is so expensive, are they extorting us? This prehistoric material of mine was dredged from the White Tiger territory. It can be exchanged for at least several hundred billion. Humi's luxurious purple skirt trailed along the ground, accentuating her graceful figure, like a bundle of budding lotuses in the water. In her hand, she played with a white seal. She was currently passing leisurely through the treasure banquet's exchange festivities. In the sea of people, a supervoid cultivator naturally would issue a might that made all other cultivators maintain a certain distance. The treasure banquet honestly is lively. Gold Lancer Su Jingshu changed her previous indifferent attitude and showed an interested appearance. The treasure banquet is but the final banquet for Star Masters before the 3 heavenly books. Jingshu, you must pay attention. Perhaps we can find an opponent you want. Her, for example. Humi wore a charming expression as she swept her eyes over the crowd. The girl wore a low-cut top and short skirt. Even in this treasure banquet where female cultivators competed fiercely against each other, that girl appeared especially eye-catching. Especially that bodice-like top. 2 pieces of cloth merely half-covered her snow-white chest, offsetting her perfectly round wonders. Every man they passed could not help but stare wide-eyed. A star general? The girl glanced at Humi. Her alluring and hazy eyes glanced back at Su Jingshu, and continued to chat nonchalantly with the girl in front of her. Shall your servant greet them? Su Jingshu was eager to try. No need, this sort of thing is best left until afterwards. Humi did not want to create side issues in the treasure banquet. However, if Lin Chong is spotted, your servant shall definitely go fight her. I also happen to want to acquaint myself with the purple thunder monster. Just what abilities he has. Humi's slender fingers gripped tight the seal. The crowd in front of them stirred, erupting into excited shouts. Another new prehistoric spirit treasure has ranked in the top 10. Why does this 7 feathers fan sound a bit familiar? Could it be that prehistoric spirit treasure created from the plumage of the vermilion bird, clinging heavenly vermilion jian, fire phoenixes, burning yuan, sun golden bird, 7 types of fire category divine bird? Some divine birds are already extinct. Should these 7 feathers not already have disappeared? Right, this 7 feathers fan is very awesome. Legend says that several dozen years earlier, a counterfeit karma fire fan was able to rank 8th on the spirit ceiling list. Tisk tsk. Never expected it would surprisingly actually appear. This treasure banquet is interesting. Humu wrinkled her brow and looked at the spirit ceiling list. She never expected that in the mere 2 days of the treasure banquet, the top 10 of the spirit ceiling list would surprisingly have earth-shattering changes. 3 never-before-seen prehistoric spirit treasure had appeared. The first was still the Supreme Ultimate Diagram. The second was the 5 Dragons Lantern. The third was the 3 Clarities Banner. The fourth was the Empress 2 Earth Book. The fifth was the Boundless Bell. The sixth was the 7 Feathers Fan. The seventh was the 4 Symbols Seal. The 8th was the 6 Paths Plate. The originally ranked 4th 6 Paths Plate had unexpectedly fallen to 8th. 5 Dragons Lantern, Empress 2 Earth Book, 7 Feathers Fan. Humi muttered. No wonder the purple thunder monster can move through the 4 territories unhindered. Never expected him to have spirit treasures so defiant of the natural order on his person. Gently grunting, Humi extended her hand and sent in several rays of divine intent. The spirit sealing list rippled. The black turtle seal was ranked 16th. Look quickly, there is another new prehistoric spirit treasure. Black turtle seal. A pity it is only 16th. All of the cultivators felt pity. This black turtle seal is actually quite powerful. Humi's eyes glinted. She never expected the black turtle seal to place in the top 16. That purple thunder monster honestly had assets. These never-before-seen prehistoric spirit treasures were each formidable. However, no matter what, they will not compare to the supreme ultimate diagram. Su Jingshi yawned. Yes. Humi slightly smiled. Elder Sister Chuha, our Yin-Yang twin swords have been displaced from the spirit sealing list top 10 by the dual modes ruler. Sikong Dongyo worriedly said. This generation's never-before-seen prehistoric spirit treasures truly are innumerable. Does that have something to do with the purple thunder monster? Sikong Chuha was more deliberate than her younger sister. Her younger sister looked only at rankings, yet she saw a bit of danger from that. Elder sister, we must quickly increase the ranking of the Yin-Yang twin swords. Sikong Dongyo was impulsive and unresigned. The spirit sealing list ranking was only a reference, but she was vain. The higher the rank of the spirit treasure at hand always filled a cultivator with indescribable self-confidence. This was also why cultivators would be so willing to enter. Do not do this. Sikong Chuha was indifferent, aloof. Elder sister. The Yin-Yang twin swords was previously entered into the spirit sealing list by a supervoid stage cultivator. Our cultivation is merely supercluster late stage, far from comparison to our seniors. Testing now will only rank even lower. Sikong Chuha said. Sikong Dongyo was unconvinced. We sisters are of one mind. We can definitely make the Yin-Yang twin swords even stronger. Unable to overcome her younger sister's obstinance, Sikong Chuha followed her along as she herself did not care at all for the spirit sealing list ranking. The two girls simultaneously sent in the Yin-Yang twin swords' divine intent. The entire plaza was first stunned. Then they immediately burst into uproarious laughter. As Sikong Chuha foresaw, the Yin-Yang twin swords fell directly from 11th place to more than 30. Shit. Sikong Dongyo was dumbstruck. Sikong Chuha rolled her eyes. We sisters have one mind. Although we can allow the Yin-Yang twin swords to be even more powerful, the spirit sealing list looks at a cultivator's cultivation and powers in its evaluation. Supervoid stage and supercluster stage have a disparity like that of heaven and earth. But more than 30 is already considered pretty good. It angers me to death. Dongyo grieved, heartbroken. Wei Ronxin and Shan Ming'er looked at each other and helplessly shrugged. Do not mind this kind of trifle. The lower the ranking, the more careless the opponent will be in future star duels, which is even better. Sikong Chuha slightly smiled, happy instead of bitter. Now, let us immediately go gather materials for the Heaven-Earth shears. Once we refine the Heaven-Earth shears, we sisters inevitably can rise above the others. I understand, elder sister. Zhiyu. Zhang Feiyu's expression was ice-cold as she looked at the spirit sealing list. The three big words, Black Turtle Seal, cut painfully into Shiyu's heart like a sharp dagger. Has that Humi also come? Shiyu's face was covered in a layer of frost. The black turtle seal that Su Xing gifted her had been stolen, making the water illusion fairy brood deeply. She treated the black turtle seal that Su Xing had gifted her the first time as an engagement item, something to particularly treasure. She did not expect that after only just receiving it that it would be stolen. Although Su Xing was indifferent, Zhiyu felt this was a disgrace. Her heart was in incomparable suffering, unable to be resolved. There she is. Zhang Feiyu spotted the young woman in a purple skirt. The supervoid female cultivator's additional stunning beauty was very eye-catching in the crowd. Let us go. Zhiyu grit her teeth, her eyes spouting flames, as the pair walked towards Humi. Humi curiously watched the girl in front of her. After a while, she slightly smiled inside. So it is you. That purple thunder monster truly is very skilled. In such a short time, he has surprisingly reached supervoid from supercluster middle stage. This truly is unsurpassed. The young woman before her wore a white palace dress. Nevertheless, its simple elegance had an additional mundane aspect. The wide sleeves trailed behind her, graceful and luxurious. Her glossy black hair was bound simply in a flying immortal bun. Several large and round pearls decorated her hair, making the black bun appear elegant and even more bright. Her beautiful eyes overflowed with splendor, and her red lips rippled with a sneer. Humi, fight your servant once more. Zhiyu coldly glared at the seal whom he played around with in her hand, whom he could see through her thoughts. She gently said, "It is reasonable to say that as you are the Purple Thunder Monster's exclusive property, you are his partner. Mir should take this opportunity to split you from him, to destroy one of his arms." The topic then changed. "A pity that this has ruined my mood for the treasure banquet. I decline." Zhiyu did not expect her to say this. "Hey, don't tell me you're afraid. What now? The Azure Dragon Territory's Star Masters are all cowards." Zhang Feiyu jeered. "Little me, this little sister is truly noisy." Su Jingxu yawned. She actually did not view the boatman as an opponent. "Do you want this black turtle seal back?" Humi toyed with the black turtle seal. She craftily said, "How about this then? Let us compete at the Crystal Dragon Palace's training field. If you win, I shall return this black turtle seal to you. If you lose, little me shall not make things difficult for you. You only need to inform you why you are so willing to believe in the Purple Thunder Monster. And if I refuse?" Zhiyu coldly asked. "You were the one who came looking for little me in the first place. Does it matter to me whether you agree or refuse?" Humi smiled and said, "How about right now?" Zhang Feiyu clenched her fist. The Crystal Dragon Palace had the connecting heaven-ocean settling pearls as protection. If a star duel actually occurred here, then it would inevitably alarm the whole place as well as implicate Su Xing. Zhiyu did not want to create side issues at such a critical juncture. In actuality, the water illusion fairy knew that although she was Super Void stage, that had only been a few days prior, she was a bit inferior to Humi, and Gold Lancer Su Ning's hook spear technique was absolute. The golden armor she had inherited was even more famous in Liangshan. Even some top-notch star weapons were unable to contend against it. If they actually battled, Zhiyu had no chances of victory. Thinking quickly, Zhiyu made her decision. Fine. Training Palace. Humi in purple clothes and Zhiyu face one another. Guardian Star Gold Lancer Su Ning put away her indolent attitude. She took several steps forward, waved her hand, and an enchanting golden lance appeared in her hand. There were 4 faintly visible stars twinkling, the golden hooked soul-snatching lance. Zhang Feiyu snorted and brought out the blazing fish king saber. "Do not hold back. Do not let Jingxu feel bored." Su Jingxu languidly stretched. "I Feiyu will make you climax." The boatman shouted, suddenly attacking. The golden hooked soul-snatching lance caught Zhang Feiyu's blazing saber, and then she swept, shaking the spear. Zhang Feiyu was repelled several paces. Su Jingxu's spearmanship was eerie, impossible to defend against. Each thrust made Zhang Feiyu's guard abnormally awkward, deeply irritating the boatman. The widely maneuvering blazing saber was completely useless. Infuriated, her palm shook. The blazing fish king saber shook out a clear rotation. Zhang Feiyu gripped the saber and used full power to attack with her yellow rank saber technique fish dragon roaming fire. A fire dragon like a golden fish rolled out from the saber. Su Ning caught it with her lance and vertically slashed downwards, letting the fish fire burn her body without reacting at all. The flames dispersed, and her figure charged out. A thrust directly penetrated Zhang Feiyu's chest. The boatman was alarmed that one of her ribs had been broken. Zhang Feiyu was a risk-taker, not retreating but advancing. However, Su Ning was a different sort of character. Comparing martial arts, she was also superior. Her shoulders suddenly drew close, and a pressure like that of a mountain pressed on the boatman. Zhang Feiyu's lungs seemed to be ripped apart in pain, and she slid back several dozen meters, gold and stone splitter. Su Ning gripped her spear. An array of blinding gold light suddenly tore apart Zhang Feiyu's line of sight. Meanwhile, Zhiyu was not idle. Knowing that in terms of star generals, it was probably unfavorable for Zhang Feiyu to face Su Ning, she immediately launched an attack on Humi. So long as she could injure Humi, Su Ning would inevitably also be harmed. The 2 first raised flying swords, however. The flying swords Humi forged were the Purple Firmament Immortal Palace's renowned Purple Firmament Sword Chant. The sword chant activated, and a multicolored mist descended like a mountain. Zhiyu's sword chant could not compare at all. She had returned her sky-clinging spiritual distribution banner to the sect after leaving it. She actually had the dual modes ruler as a protective artifact, But she had been suppressed by flying swords into complete defeat mere moments in. Zhiyu promptly activated her power. Like illusion, like reality soul technique. 100 flying swords manifested a multitude of sword shadows in the sky, surprisingly becoming innumerable, just like a black cloud. The black cloud pressed down on the city, only then inhibiting the purple firmament swords. Humi remained unimpressed. She fiddled with the black turtle seal in her white hands. The black turtle seal immediately smashed toward Zhiyu. This seal shall be returned to you, be sure to catch it properly. The black turtle seal suddenly magnified, and its whole body radiated black and white light. The crystalline seal faintly had minute talisman script moving about, manifesting the black turtle true spirit. When a supervoid cultivator activated the magic weapon, it naturally was not weak. Before Humi had used full power, the drilling field had been rocked by the black turtle seal, about to collapse. The pressure pushed down, but Zhiyu did not shrink back. Secretly chanting, 2 rays of light flew out from her sleeves, assuming the form of yin and yang to firmly resist the black turtle seal's pressure. Zhiyu urged on her supervoid star energy, attempting to take the black turtle seal. Dual modes ruler? Humi was astonished. That purple thunder monster truly is not unkind to you. To surprisingly give this level of spirit treasure to you? Little me truly is more and more curious about him. As she said this, Humi sent star energy into the black turtle seal. The black turtle seal briefly shuddered and let out a long cry. That seal imprint uttered an air-shattering voice. The 3 Zhang-sized seal carried this thundering power. The dual modes ruler's form struck the black turtle seal like whips, releasing cracking sounds. The hall tottered on the edge of collapse, with cracks becoming more numerous. Humi took back the black turtle seal and retreated a step, her expression not as relaxed as before. If this continues, the Crystal Dragon Palace will expel us. Her figure flashed, and Gold Lancer Su Ning slowly returned to her side. Zhang Feiyu was forcing herself up, extremely exhausted. The victor was clear. It appears to be our victory. A slight grin appeared on Humi's lips. Who says? Zhang Feiyu was indignant and forced herself to stand up. Just at this moment, a mildly sweet and beautiful voice entered the hall, making people appear intoxicated. Bullying a water general is not skillful. Guardian Star Gold Lancer Su Ning, fight me, how about it? Everyone turned their gazes. A beautiful girl had appeared in the hall at some point in time. Her haze-shaded clothes, short cloak, and 2 lotus leaf-like pieces of cloth covered her chest, half exposing her snow-white roundness. Her deep cleavage was especially prominent, and in the middle hung a brilliant piece of colored glass. Below her snow-white belly was a 100-pleat short skirt, with gilded edges and flowery embroidery. Her white legs were encased in knee-high black stockings. Clad in multicolored boots, each of her steps seemed to tread on clouds, extremely gorgeous. The girl's appearance was sweet, her bright eyes pleasant. Perhaps she had drunk some wine, but her white and fair skin was dyed with an intoxicated pink. Even her expression carried traces of drunkenness, and her voice was like a fine wine, intoxicating. She honestly was slightly tipsy and flushed, brushing her peach blossom red cheeks with a rippling smile. Humu recognized the young woman as the one that caught her attention earlier. As expected, she was a star general. Where did you pop out from? I Feiyu, have not played enough. Zhang Feiyu shouted. That was an inconceivable scene. The multicolored light flashed, and the young woman already appeared in front of Zhang Feiyu. Her speed was so fast it left Zhang Feiyu dumbstruck. If you are not happy, then both of you can come together. The young woman knocked Zhang Feiyu back with one strike. Her right hand clenched, and a weapon of multicolored light entered her hand. Humi and Zhiyu froze. They did not know if the woman before them was actually drunk or too arrogant to surprisingly face the 4 of them. The next instant, Su Ning's desire for battle was aroused. Laughing, the golden hook soul-snatching spear attacked. The girl's body techniques were wonderful. Her hand moved and knocked Su Jingshu away with one strike. I hear that Guardian Star Gold Lancer Su Ning has another unrivaled armor star weapon. Goose Feather Ring Gold Armor. How about you allow me to experience it? What an arrogant star general. Humi sneered and suddenly attacked. Zhang Feiyu was red-faced with anger. She raised the blazing fish king saber to attack from behind. The girl practically was trapped on all sides. Yet she remained easygoing, unhurried as she consecutively defended against the three women. Her left hand then manifested a segmented staff weapon, attacking all sides with great dexterity, surprisingly suppressing Su Ning and the others' assault. I forgot to introduce myself. I am Yue Ying. Little sister, speak your true name? Star position, speed star name, Dai Zong nickname, magic traveler true name, Dai Xingyue rank, 20th star weapon, star chasing moon treading armored horse 2 star, /sky confusing heart bell, not manifested star beast, divine hawk realm, matchless 3rd stage innate skill, magic traveling array 5 elements, earth yellow rank special move, sun travels thousandly dark rank special move, flying smoke scattering stars earth rank special move, sun pursuit current status, uprising, cannot be conquered, detailed materials. Hanbing currently stood at the top of one of the Crystal Dragon Palace's halls overlooking the ant-like market. At the same time, the birth treasure outline opened before her, endlessly scanning women in the crowd who appeared especially beautiful. If her luck was not bad, she had a good probability to encounter a star general. Using this method, a list of names of star generals had appeared in her birth treasure outline. Of course, understanding the material of star generals was only second. The most important thing was for Hanbing to search for a second star general to sign a contract with for her twin stars button. But when she spotted the record of Dai Zong, Hanbing's ice-like indifferent expression wrinkled its brow. Uprising? What kind of contract is this? Ling Feishu aghast, confused. The taciturn woman Xian Lao beside Hanbing pursed her lips, clearly at a loss. Imperial sister, do you know what uprising is? Ling Feishu asked the golden long-skirted woman beside Xian Lao. The girl had wavy golden hair, and had a seemingly solemn complexion. She looked displeased and shook her head. I heard that Song Zhang's innate skill is uprising. Could it be this? Hanbing said in a low voice. Impossible. There has never been this sort of thing before. Ling Feishu flatly denied it. Perhaps it is the effect of a magic weapon like the Twin Stars button? Thinking about, it could only be this. Imperial sister, you must remember well little sister's whereabouts. When there is a chance, pay her a visit and we will know then. The golden-haired girl nodded, concentrating on Dai Xingyue. A third, bright golden eye suddenly opened on her spotlessly white forehead. After a long while it then closed. Hanbing nodded. Since she could not be conquered, it was completely useless. Not thinking about this anymore, she continued to scan with the birth treasure outline. At this time the birth treasure outline displayed new information. Hanbing looked. Immediately she was interested. Hero star Little Li Guang Huarong has comprehended her Earth rank technique. Liked it. For her to surprisingly comprehend Earth rank, what a formidable elder sister. Ling Feishu enviously said. To comprehend Earth rank at this stage was not odd at all, just like how the Dai Xingyue a moment ago was in possession of an Earth rank technique. But the significance of a top-notch Heavenly Star's Earth rank was not the same. Their martial arts were powerful, and their Heaven Earth Dark Yellow techniques were also not easy to comprehend. Hanbing, if you can contract the Hero Star, that would be great. Ling Feishu licked her lips. Hanbing was indeterminately gloomy. How could she not be excited about that graceful woman? But she was very clear that Hero Star Little Li Guang and the White Tiger territory had a very poor relationship, and she kept close to that majestic star Lin Chong. Rumor said that she had a relationship with the Purple Thunder monster. To contract with her was more difficult than climbing the sky, but Hanbing wanted to try. Wait until grandfather returns, then we shall see. Going now is only laughable. Xian Lao finally spoke, her voice heavy and hoarse, but it was exceptionally unrefusable. To defeat the Purple Thunder monster, we indeed can only wait until grandfather. Hanbing took a deep breath, retracting her gaze from Hua Wanyue. Can that old man obtain along the river during Qingming, now that he has gone to the Great Liang Imperial Palace? Ling Feishu asked. I hear that Emperor Liang is very powerful. Emperor Liang ought to be rushing to attend the treasure banquet. Grandfather probably will not encounter him. The others are not even grandfather's opponent. Right now, grandfather should have already taken that thing at this time. Han Bing's eyes narrowed, flashing a slight chill. She showed a derisive detached expression as she gazed at the bubbling tide of people in the Crystal Dragon Palace. Great Liang Imperial Palace. A vast expanse of colored glass, jade platforms and rooms, layered row upon row. If one looked carefully from above on a flying sword, they would discover that the Great Liang Imperial Palace's structure was elaborate, with a vaguely comprehensible pattern. At the Great Liang Imperial Palace, there was also a tall tower linked with iron chains. This tall tower surrounding Ten Li had no other structures, only 8 palace doors. On the giant 8 bucket-like chain links there were faint and cryptic talisman script. With each attack, the chains rattled. What the 8-9 true evil smiting chains trapped was not a demon beast or a devil, rather, it was a scroll. This scroll slightly unraveled. The portrait depicted mountains and rivers, a pleasant country scene, as if it could leap out of the painting. The scroll's surroundings were full of golden mist, as if there was an actual devouring the clouds and rolling the moon. Too wonderful for words. If an intruder invaded, the 8 gates would firmly activate an array, making it difficult for even an entire army to breach. This platform was the Great Liang's demon sealing platform. Amazing, so this is the demon sealing platform, the 8 gates heaven mixing array. The chi of the ley line has also been added into the 9 true evil smiting chains. No wonder that along the river during Qingming can suppress prehistoric demons. Song Feng's face showed astonishment as he looked at the demon sealing platform. Now is the perfect time for us. Xiang Qingci said in a low voice. Grandfather Li's eyes were closed as he leisurely walked, entering the 8 gates heaven mixing array. Xiang Qingci and Song Feng did not have grandfather's strength, and could only defend the outside. A moment later, cultivators already flew out of the Great Liang Imperial Palace. Who goes there to unexpectedly dare charge into the demon-suppressing pagoda? A tall and elegant man with a face like jade sternly said. In his hand was a banner that shook, releasing mechanism beasts. You are the Great Liang state scholar Mo Shangxian? We hear that you are a descendant of the Mo clan. Perfect, there is something we have need of you for. Song Feng smiled. Humph. Mo Shangxian sneered. Several dozen cultivators controlled their sword chants to form a sword array. Suddenly, several dozen shadows quickly shot over. Those black shadows shuttled back and forth, ripping apart space. The black lights ran through them, directly piercing their hearts. Their defensive magic weapons were torn to shreds like paper. The cultivators died suddenly. A girl in black clothes appeared out of thin air, her fingers pinching shadowy flying daggers. Hey, this place has nothing for you, so do not disturb. Nongmei interrupted. Seeing her attack was extremely fast, her arms flung, and the shadow-flying daggers flew off with practically no traces. The heads of several dozen supercluster cultivators were run through in succession. Xiang Qingqi's Star General Little Conqueror Zhou Zhiyun's flowing water-green depth spear was also tyrannical. Yellow spear technique green soldier slash practically was invincible. How could these supercluster cultivators contend against a Star General's 4-star destined weapon attack? Each and every one of them lacked the power to fight back. Star Masters, why must you provoke trouble? Mo Shangxian wrinkled his brow. A supercluster stage giant ape puppet blocked in front of him. We only want to borrow thee along the river during Qingming. Lord State Scholar, it would be better to be generous? Song Feng said amicably. Your servant upholds His Majesty's orders. How can I let you take it away? Mo Shangxian produced another puppet banner. This was a white tiger puppet. Its cultivation was unexpectedly equivalent to Supervoid stage. Supervoid stage puppet, truly extravagant. Song Feng sighed elegantly, yet his expression was not as carefree as before. He flipped through his bag. This bag twinkled with green light, incessantly agitated. He pointed the bag at Mo Shangxian. The bag's mouth opened and suddenly, a squall blew out. Dust and stone flew about, and an enormous storm blew the cultivators into disarray, their defenses in shambles. This treasure was known as the Cool Breeze Bag, Songfeng's life-cast magic weapon. The demon beasts of the White Tiger mostly had a life-cast magic weapon. Because it was linked with their own mind, it was more powerful than typical magic weapons. However, forging a life-cast magic weapon meant they could not cultivate life-cast flying swords. Although it was called the Cool Breeze Bag, it nevertheless could unleash an unstoppable storm. The area in a range of 10 li was lifted by the gale. The wind was like a blade, tearing reinforced armor to shreds in an instant. Some cultivators of high cultivation barely withstood it, but following Songfeng's exertion, these cultivators immediately felt powerful pressure. Supervoid cultivator? Everyone was shocked. Nongmei and Zhou Zhiyun seized this chance to attack. Go! Emo Shangxian shouted. Several large puppets were summoned in succession, but the two star masters in front of them were far more powerful than they had imagined. The large and sturdy man would not lose to a star general in battle. He wielded a large staff and slaughtered the puppets. Although that Song Feng appeared carefree, the magic weapon made everyone face a great enemy. Just who are you? Emo Xiangshan watched the shaking demon suppressing Pagoda's 8 gates, and his tone chilled. Shut up, courting death. Zhou Zhiyun shouted. Her dark rank spear technique green spear tip passing through directly broke Emo Shangxian's guardsman puppets. The Emo clan puppets were superb, but their powerful defenses broke with a single strike. The little conqueror prepared to kill this man to end the supervoid puppet's trouble. Emo Shangxian, the great Liang state scholar, evaded with precise timing. Immediately afterwards, he bit open his fingertip, spraying his blood into the air. The puppet glowed a complete red, and it immediately pressed the attack. At this time, the Great Liang dynasty's hundreds of cultivators were currently pouring here endlessly to offer aid. Every sort of magic weapon and flying swords heralded a combatant, pushing back and forth in the storm, a fierce battle. Just at this moment, they heard a whinny approach. That neigh was odd, obviously 1,000 li away a moment ago, but now it was apparently already in front of them. Jiyun, careful. Songfeng's divine intent moved, and he hastily shouted. But he was already too late. Little conqueror Zhou Zhiyun sensed danger, but her foe's speed was honestly too swift. As if suddenly rushing over completely without any preparations to react, a powerful and scorching momentum slammed into Zhou Zhiyun like a tidal wave. Astonishingly, the girl's powerful star energy could not endure this one strike. She vomited blood. Immediately afterwards, she was too late to raise her spear and fight back. A divine steed of hooves wreathed in flame, but a whole body of ice and snow was in front of her. Sitting on the horse, a woman laughed just like a great general leading an assault. Her hand raised and slashed with an axe, cutting into Zhou Zhiyun's body. The pitiful little conqueror Zhou Zhiyun was completely unprepared. First she was knocked asunder by that horse, and then she was hacked by an axe. If it was not for a star general's indestructible body, this powerful and heavy blow would have absolutely split Zhou Zhiyun's body in two. Even so, Zhou Zhiyun cried out in pain. She lifted her head to look at the general on the horse and the scorching axe head. Her pupils shrunk. Immediately, her body disappeared, falling into the star nest. Xiang Chenxing's stiff face malevolently warped as he stared at the newcomer. Impatient vanguard is here. Little sisters, prepare to die. The woman on the horse restlessly shouted. This king thought to see imperial sister, but this king never imagined to encounter two star masters who do not know they are dead breaking into the forbidden palace. As father emperor is not present, allow this king to pass judgment on father's behalf. A heroic man standing on a fiery flying sword appeared, his attitude arrogant. He was Zhao Heng. Zhao Heng brought the heavenly star impatient vanguard, relying on her charge innate skill to instantly dispatch Zhou Zihayan, immediately boosting the morale of the cultivators. Your Highness Heng, why are you? Emo Shangxian contrarily wrinkled his brow. You still do not run? Zhao Heng haughtily said. Two non-heavenly star masters were breaking into the imperial palace, and with so many cultivators and the national scholars' assistance, Zhao Heng already planned to destroy these two star masters here. Afterwards, Father Emperor would inevitably recognize him. National scholar Qing Shuang, today, we shall let these short-sighted fools know of the great Liang's might. Zhao Heng laughed. Zhao Heng and Sua Qingshuang broke through in a spurt of energy. The Heavenly Star Marshal General took action, and Song Feng and Xiang Qingqing immediately fell to a disadvantage. Mo Shangxian could not help but feel that this Maiden Mountain's star generals were indeed unequaled in the words when he saw this scene. For only one impatient vanguard to render them an advantage. Mo Shangxian prepared to rally a group. Just at this moment, the demon ceiling platform boomed and rocked. The 9 true evil smiting chains and the 8 gates broke one after another, shattering. An astral thunder descended from the sky, striking directly onto the complacent Zhao Heng. His protective magic treasures disintegrated, and Zhao Heng fell. Your Highness. Sua Qingshuang lost the color in her face. Hanyan isn't here yet. Su Xing lifted his head to look at the parting waves. Several dozen men and women dressed in the robes of true immortal hall had arrived. Their leader was a supervoid middle-stage cultivator wearing a grave and stern expression. Among these people, Su Xing did not see Zhao Hanyan's figure. With the Lingyan princess supervoid cultivator, perhaps she already does not follow the comings and goings of her sect. Wu Xinjie surmised. Because star masters relying on the star duels cultivated too quickly, their ascent into supervoid stage often would let them act as they pleased, and to not necessarily follow their sect as they had before. Is that so? Su Xing's brow deeply creased. The intertwined branch sword's light was increasingly dim, and his heart was somewhat ill at ease. I shall go ask for young lord. A moment later, Wu Xinjie returned. What is it? Did you find anything? They say that the Lingyan princess has gone to Kunlun to refine the 1,000-year tears, and has yet to return to the sect. Wu Xinjie muttered. Perhaps the Lingyan princess has found a way to rescind the intertwined contract. Lin Yingmei suddenly said. Su Xing was stunned. He nodded and felt this was very logical, concerned yet confused. With Zhao Hanyan's cultivation and the 5 tiger generals Dong Junqing at her side, he really did not need to worry too much. That Kunlun was known as an immortal mountain, with the Liangshan continent's top-notch medicine refinement master Queen Mother of Kunlun. Perhaps there really was some elixir involved, but even this would not explain the intertwined branch sword's abnormality. That's good. I'm currently on the receiving end of Maiden Mountain's retaliation. This will avoid implicating her. Wu Xinjie and Lin Yingmei glanced at each other. The knowledge star covered her grin. Young lord truly keeps the Lingyan princess on his mind, yet that steadfast star is not one bit grateful at all. Men with drooling gazes ogled at Hunyangzi. That water-blue figure was wonderful and graceful. Even the most clear-hearted and refined cultivators could not help but let their imaginations run wild. However, the girl's icy golden pupils were too piercing and cold, making all cultivators that had these thoughts stare from afar. Bright star 10 feet of blue accompanied Tang Lianxin as she browsed the Heaven East district. Solitary star Tang Lianxin's personality was reclusive, not fond of speaking. The atmosphere between them was evidently somewhat silent, so much so that the somewhat reticent Hunyangzi did not feel uncomfortable at all. Does elder sister have anything she wants Lianxin to forge? Tang Lianxin selected a few spirit jades and stones, suddenly turning her head back to ask. Hunyangzi was currently monitoring every movement in her surroundings. When she heard the question, she did not respond immediately but blinked. No need. Hunyangzi shook her head. I already have these feelings lasso. There is no need for anything else. The bright star knew that Tang Lianxin was forging defensive astral treasures for the sisters, and this task was not easy. Tang Lianxin did not answer. In the Heavenly East District, after having seen hundreds of shops, a gambling stone pavilion field drew Tang Lianxin's interest. The so-called gambling stone was also known as the jade in the stone. This kind of jade appeared ordinary on the outside, but its inside had condensed outstanding essence qi. The spiritual power of the extracted jade was abundant, and using it to forge magic weapons and the like was much better than using ordinary stones. Tang Lianxin was always very curious about the gambling stone. Seeing that the gambling stone pavilion had flocks of people coming and going, pleasantly surprised shouts occasionally rang out from within. Pondering for a moment, she then entered the gambling stone pavilion with Hunyangzi. Entering the narrow pathway, the interior suddenly opened up to an area with standing room only. Countless cultivators all stared intently at the gambling stone on the table. This gambling stone pavilion allowed free trade. Some cultivators that wished to strike fortune would put in all their might here. A young woman was currently sitting on a chair on the platform, her expression arrogant. Upon seeing her, Tang Lianxin's pupils shrunk. That girl was none other than jade-armed craftsman Jin Dajian. 100 cultivators were using careful observation on that gambling stone. Among them was no lack of supercluster-level ancestors. Tang Lianxin stood in a corner, coldly watching. Although she did not have an innate skill the level of Jin Dajian's jade carving, her tool refinement ability could allow her to more or less understand spirit stones and the like. The gambling stone was an ashen gray suffused with pure white. It was approximately 30 kilograms, the shell full of white snowflakes. Under the light, the stone's whole body was like snow, translucent. Tang Lianxin's eyes watched the stone revolve, and her heart gradually grew interested. The gambling stone was dead silent. Each and every cultivator was deeply pondering. Qiongyu indifferently drank tea and said, "Whoever still wants to gamble, start bidding." The hall shifted. Immediately, someone tested the waters. For 100 million. As if Qionyu's air of arrogance could cade. She hinted at them to continue bidding. Jade in the stone was in of itself an object worthy of collecting. The spiritual jade inside was priceless, even if only finger-sized. However, nobody could discern just whether or not a stone actually had spirit jade within. Some jades in the stone appeared remarkable, but extracting the interior revealed emptiness, or even a bit of spirit chi jade, which was an enormous loss. The people below began whispering to one another. This item was quite good. To say nothing of its ample power, just that body full of snow was worth more than 400 million. This was too far from Qionyu's price. The gambling stone pavilion was full of every sort of person, including scattered cultivators from the 3 territories. Other than those somewhat snooping about the jade in the stone, the gambling stone itself was extremely provocative. The price steadily grew higher. In moments it was already close to 5 billion, somewhat surprising even Hunyangzi. At such a high price, Qiongyu still was aloof with that intent to not sell. She sneered. "This jade in the stone is practically a treasure. Everyone knows the worth of jade with such strong spiritual power. Give it to a cultivator to refine, and it will be enough to allow a supercluster cultivator to jump to supervoid, but these bids are too unreasonable." Saying this, Qiongyu brought out her dragon carving hammer. She gently struck on a flower of snow white, filling the area with blue and green light. Qiongyu clapped her hands and said, "Is there any use in probing further? This price will not last." Skillful star jade-armed craftsman. All the cultivators recognized the star weapon dragon carving hammer. The whole area exploded as each cultivator looked at one another. If this stone fully unraveled its power, it would be worth at least 100 billion. As far as a cultivator at the current stage was concerned, it was even more priceless. Immediately someone yelled, 10 billion. Qionyu's serious expression paid no heed. The atmosphere was fervent as another shouted a higher price, 20 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion. The jade in the stone flew up as if it had grown wings, constantly shouting 60 billion. It was supercluster cultivator with significant fortune and backing that dared call out, "Is this stone worth so much money?" Hunyangzi was in disbelief. She is very smart. Tang Lianxin spat out these 4 words, as if she was too stingy to say another word. Hunyangzi was bright and immediately understood what Tang Lianxin meant by smart. Skillful star Qiongyu first revealed her star weapon to display her identity. The jade-armed craftsman was known by all in Liangshan. Although she was not a martial general, that jade refinement innate skill far outclassed any and all cultivators. An expert naturally acted without being gentle. By doing so, this jade and the stone's worth inflated significantly. Everyone wanted to gamble. Jade-armed craftsman, this 50 billion is already very high. Just how much more do you want? A supercluster ancestor looked at her and slowly said, growing impatient. Qiongyu had a cold expression. If you want the gambling stone, then you must be daring. Otherwise you will let a good item slip away. Even good luck will be to no avail. Actually, this stone is practically a perfect treasure. What does 50 billion count for to a cultivator if you reach supervoid cultivation? The whole place became deathly silent. Even the supercluster ancestor was in bitter contemplation. Shall we do something for dear husband? Hunyangzi furrowed her brow. Qiongyu was clearly exploiting this jade in the stone to earn a profit for star weapon upgrade assets. Leader Star Qingci's uprising had several, including Qiongyu. Their numbers were not few, and to maintain the upgrades to so many star weapons was a very difficult task. There was no choice but to say that this was actually a good idea. But the leader star was a future enemy. Hunyangzi did not want to simply watch Qiongyu prevail. Lianxin should do something for elder brother too. Tang Lianxin thought. At this moment, the jade in the stone's price had already reached 70 billion. However, Qiongyu did not like any of the magic weapons her counterparts used to barter, always showing now expression. The Lu Feng beside her already was impatient and surreptitiously hinted to Qiongyu to finish the transaction and be done with this place. Just at this moment, an ice-cold sentence came into the world. This jade in the stone is worthless. The entire place fell silent. This sentence could be said to be grating against this astronomical number. Everyone followed the voice to see Tang Lianxin. Qiongyu also spotted the solitary star. With a chill contained in her eyes, she pursed her lips and scoffed. You naturally feel it is worthless since you are unable to pay. The jade-armed craftsman's words made everyone in the hall laugh. Tang Lianxin was unfazed. Jade-armed craftsman, you have had your moment. I feel that selling this for 100 million is a big enough profit. If you do not believe me, then open the stone. Only worth 100 million? Even those snowflakes covering the stone would be worth more than this price. Forget the skepticism of those cultivators. Even Qiongyu herself jeered. An amateur is an amateur. Qiongyu was always hostile towards Su Xing. She was still brooding over that matter from back then in Evil Smiting Hall, and she did not have a favorable impression of the solitary star at all. Sneering, if she could not redeem face, then even a gambling stone worth 10 billion would immediately become as worthless as Tang Lianxin said. Thus Qiongyu evilly said, playing expert in front of me, you are too inexperienced. If opening it is not worth this price, what will you give in exchange to everyone here today? Do not be impulsive. Tang Lianxin was still very apathetic. I did not ask you to open it at all. To leave the price at 50 billion is not profitable. Why not sell at 100 million? These words were even more malicious, forcing Qiongyu into a dead end. Qiongyu stared as if her throat had been lodged with a fishbone. She heaved for a while and then inwardly cursed. Birds of a feather really do flock together. Little sister has accompanied an arrogant man, and is herself unaware of the immensity of heaven and earth. Have you any answer? Everyone could then see from their relation that the two were star generals, already hostile to one another. Tang Lianxin said. If you truly want to gamble, Lianxin will naturally oblige you. Saying this, her fingers snapped, and several items appeared on the table. Everyone looked and drew in a breath. Magic weapons, rare books, spirit stones, spirit medicines, and more, which were equivalent to 10 billion, more or less. 10 billion, do you dare bet? Qiongyu gazed at Tang Lianxin and sneered. You are so certain about this. She blinked her crafty eyes and hesitated for a bit, coldly saying, I shall give you a chance. So long as you apologize to everyone here, there is still time for regret. Would your man agree to 10 billion? Tang Lianxin shook her head. Qiongyu, do you actually not know? The white scales that rock produces, and the spirit jade obtained are not the same. Could it be you are unable to see that this is white bone flower? Everyone was startled. White bone flower. That is the snow-white layer of scales on the jade in the stone's surface. It had the mien of an alluring woman, calling you to love it dearly. It endeared you to treat it as the real thing, yet it would sinisterly become a double-edged sword, and with a kacha, you would die a ghastly death in pieces. Qiongyu was indefinitely gloomy, utterly silent. All of the cultivators were startled to hear her words and nervously eyed the pair. Having reached this juncture, Qiongyu could not possibly shrink back. If she did not cut it open, she would lose even more wretchedly. The stone could not be sold anymore anyway, and she was even accused of swindling. The girl's expression was considerably brilliant. Qiongyu seemed to have been forced onto the gallows by Tang Lianxin. She grit her teeth as she took up the stone and struck it with her dragon-carving hammer, phoenix engraving nail. With a crisp bang, suddenly, as if she had hammered into a person's head, white paste splattered. The jade in the stone cracked. Hammer after hammer, as if pounding a cultivator's chest. The supercluster ancestor did not even dare breathe. Finally, they heard a guanglang, 3, and the jade in the stones outside shattered. The inside was a clump of dust. Suddenly, the hall was absolutely silent. A hollow jade in the stone. Instantly, 50 billion was compensated. Qionyu's expression was unsightly, as if she had already known this result, but she glared at Tang Lianxin with hatred, an expression that desired to make mincemeat of her. Consider yourself lucky. Qiongyu tossed the stone, leaving. As for the bet she agreed to, she had no thoughts of fulfilling it from the start. As if she would, to give her future enemy an advantage. What a joke. She was not so stupid. Just at this moment, a gentle womanly voice came from the doorway. Jade-armed craftsman, could it be you are reaping the consequences of your own words? A beautiful woman daintily walked out. Tang Lianxin was stunned. Master. She was precisely Zhiyu. Qionyu's face sunk. She looked around at everyone present. The other cultivators did not want to join in on a Star General's dispute, and merely looked on. However, each and every one of their expressions brimmed with cold detachment. Qiongyu sneered, and she snapped her fingers. A pure jade containing fire yet emitting cold shot towards Tang Lianxin. It stopped in front of the girl's brow. Cold young warm soul. Everyone was astonished. The cold young warm soul was forged using every kind of yin-yang spirit jade. Other than being upgrade material for Heavenly Star 7-star, it could enormously benefit divine consciousness when forged into a magic weapon. It was indestructible, but this kind of jade was extremely difficult to refine, and its value was worth more than 10 billion. My surplus shall be given to you. Qiongyu flatly said. She could refine 7-star upgrade material without any worry. Glancing at Zhiyu, Qiongyu carried her hatred away and departed the gambling stone pavilion. Master, why have you come? Tang Lianxin took the cold young warm soul and stepped forward. Worthy of the jade-armed craftsman's skillful star. The sect that can contract her will definitely achieve meteoric success. Zhiyu muttered. She saw Tang Lianxin and she warmly smiled. Lianxin, you truly are audacious. You surprisingly dared to bet against the skillful star. Could it be that you do not know that she is extremely proficient in spirit jade? It is precisely because of this that Lianxin did this. Tang Lianxin respectfully said. Zhiyu did not understand. It actually was very simple. If that actually was a jade in the stone that brimmed with spiritual power, how could Qiongyu bring it out for the gambling stone? More or less, she knew that was probably white bone scale, but there was still a bit of uncertainty that she had to resolve with the gambling stone. Tang Lianxin was an expert in tool refinement, perfectly knowledgeable in the refinement of arms and magic weapon materials. For this reason, rather than say she was making a hair-raising bet against Qiongyu, it was better to say the solitary star had bluffed Qionyu's tactic. Hearing Tang Lianxin's explanation, Zhiyu then noticed that the reclusive and antisocial girl was not as simple as she had imagined. Zhiyu swept her gaze over the crowd. Not seeing that figure that should have been following, she was very discontent. And Su Xing? Is he not together with you? Elder brother has some other matters. Tang Lianxin answered. If you encounter other star masters, separating like this is dangerous for you too. According to what I know, the majority of the territory's star masters have joined this treasure banquet. Lianxin knows. How are your preparations for the star duels? Everything is progressing smoothly. Zhiyu did not know just what this everything is progressing smoothly meant, but she was fully aware that Tang Lianxin and Su Xing's situation was very dangerous. With the solitary star participating in the star duels, Su Xing perhaps was facing great misfortune. Zhiyu was somewhat regretful. 2 days after the treasure banquet, there will be preparations to convene a major conference of the Azure Dragon Territories Alliance of 10. All sects will be in attendance. At that time, Star Masters would also appear to discuss some Star Duel-related matters. As your master, I wanted to speak with you and Su Xing about the Star Duel situation, and see at the same time if there was anything I can help you with. This is Headmaster's intention. Many thanks to Master. Lianxin will inform Elder Brother. Then good. This lady is... Zhiyu spotted the stunning Hunyangzi, and her eyes flashed with a strange glint. She is... I am Lianxin's elder sister. Hunyangzi was aloof, using a vague phrasing. Zhiyu did not know their relationship, but she did not mind. She then specifically instructed Lianxin some matters relating to the Alliance of 10 before leaving. Xie Yuan and Bing Qingxian walked on the street searching for the things they wanted. However, Xie Yuan stuck out like a sore thumb. Against his chest, he carried in his arms Huorolian, looking around as he talked and laughed with her. The eager little loli brimmed with a brilliant smile. At first glance, how could they be Star Master and Star General? They were clearly brother and sister out to play. Bing Qingxian cast a sidelong glance at them. His forehead slightly creased, and he felt like vomiting when he saw this scene. Although this genius senior brother had contracted a trash Star General to participate in the Star Duels, to him, this was a very good thing. But upon recalling Xie Yuan's stance about protecting his Star General, Bing Qingxian was thoroughly disgusted. Who did he think he was? Maiden Mountain's ruler? He was truly arrogant beyond belief. Although Xie Yuan had now reached Supervoid stage, Bing Qingxian had the confidence he could now send this supercilious senior brother go report to King Yama and cover everything up. However, Bing Qingxian did not want to do this at all. This was not so-called sympathy for a compatriot. Bing Qingxian purely thought of how far Xie Yuan could go after the 3 heavenly books, to see the sight of him wretchedly begging for mercy. His heart scoffed, yet Bing Qingxuan's outer appearance was still calm, a look of reverence for his genius senior brother. Senior brother Yuan, your servant remembered something else to do and will now take leave. And, seeing Ho Ruoyan's blissful smile, Bing Qingxian had a slight destructive impulse. He put on an act and sighed. Ever since the purple thunder monster entered the world, our sect has already been put in turmoil by him alone. Several ancestral masters have died one after another. If senior brother can contract to 5 tigers perhaps, Qingxian you can go. Xie Yuan was emotionless. Apologies. Bing Qingxian feigned sincerity, apologetically cupping his hands towards Ho Ruolian. Ruolian, senior brother is putting out enormous sacrifice for you. You must not disappoint senior brother. I hear Star Master and Star General can comprehend Heaven Earth Dark Yellow. Perhaps you can be a helping hand. Ruolian will try her best. The girl softly said. Xie Yuan watched Bing Qingxian leave, and his eyes had an additional sharpness. Yuan. Ho Ruolian tugged at Xie Yuan's hem. She lifted her head and guiltily said, Sorry. I will protect you. Xie Yuan showed a smile. He tenderly caressed Ho Ruolian's hair. In that instant, the face of his little sister and Ho Ruolian's overlapped, making Xie Yuan briefly dazed. It was this similar face that made Xie Yuan completely not hesitate to sign a Star Duel covenant with her the first time he saw Ho Ruolian. This time, I will definitely protect you. Xie Yuan repeated the promise he had once broken, hugging Ho Ruolian even more tightly. Ho Ruolian slightly hurt but was a bit moved. Bing Qingxian ingested change appearance pill to alter his facial features. After confirming no one was paying attention, Mu Qingying then emerged from the star nest. Investigative Star Unrestrained appeared to be like a shadowy projection, her eyes full of a gloomy chill. Xie Yuan's reputation will not hinder us for much longer. For this treasure banquet, Qingying wants to first use every means to upgrade her star weapon. Bing Qingxian understood. That purple thunder monster? Mu Qingying spoke. Bing Qingshuan's face turned gloomy. I believe that the purple thunder monster will become everyone's target after the 7 stars assembly. We can wait and see for now, then swoop in. If we can upgrade your star weapon to 6 or 7 star, Qingying, we will be fine. So long as we can kill the purple thunder monster, his multiple star generals will only become meat on our chopping block. Master's Heaven Earth Dark Yellow 4 Swords is still missing the Heaven Sword. Does Master need subordinate to help steal it? Mu Qingying continued to ask expressionlessly. No need for the time being. We can take the Heaven Sword at any time. For now, let it be, so as to avoid disturbing the snake in the grass. Wait until after the heavenly books. Bing Qingxian stroked his chin, suddenly gazing at the woman. Qingying, have you comprehended your earth rank? Mu Qingying shook her head. I should think of some ways to comprehend the earth rank and Heaven Earth Dark Yellow. By the time of the 3 heavenly books, we will have an even greater chance of victory. If we can comprehend the Heaven Rank 3rd Watch, these star duels will be ours. Subordinate obeys. Bing Qingxian planned every single step in the future star duels. Although he acted as the most high-path's hidden star master, compared to the Xiejin Yuan in the spotlight, he appeared especially cautious. Just as he was pondering, Bing Qingshuan's divine intent moved. Mu Qingying quickly spun around. Her 4-star destined weapon daggers flowing frost moon shadow unsheathed, slashing a frosty dagger light. Dagger knocked into dagger. A crisp clash. The sneak-attacking assassin's speed was not slow. After the first wave of assassination attacks declared her presence, the second wave launched even faster. Just like a demon circumventing Mu Qingying's defenses, she directly targeted the investigative star's heart. Mu Qingying's double daggers slashed left and right, but her opponent had evidently used her dark technique. Twin daggers slashed open countless phantoms that deflected these tips. However, Mu Qingqing was a heavenly star assassin after all. Regardless of awareness or reactions, she was extremely outstanding. The investigative star instantly retreated. Her star beast dark karma dispersed into countless black screens, and her foe suddenly attacked empty space. Was that flickering light passing shadow just now? Mu Qingying reappeared several dozen meters away. The corner of the girl's mouth carelessly revealed a mocking curve. Hearing her words, the Bing Qingxian who was about to intervene stopped. Flickering light passing shadow? Little restrained? Gritting her teeth, a shadow appeared. Mu Duang straddled her in-room Black Panther as she stared hatefully at Mu Qingying. Letting you off last time was your good luck. Now you have come to die again? You truly are adorable. Bing Qingxian laughed. He recognized the girl in front of him. Last time at the Most High Path, this assassin heard information from who knows where, and came to the sect to duel Mu Qingying. The result was she was naturally defeated. Afterwards, so as to avoid exposing his identity, they let go of their chance to kill her, allowing little restraint to escape. Bing Qingxian still felt this was a pity. He did not expect her to come again. Elder sister, do you dare duel with me? Mu Duang pointed at her elder sister. Mu Qingying gazed at Bing Qingxian. You fool. Your luck is good, and triggering the treasure banquet's anti-attack enforcement will bring trouble. We will not kill you this time, seeing as you are so foolish. You will be a moth to a flame sooner or later anyways. I also want to test if I can contract 2 stars Qingying. Bing Qingxian ruminated as he pursed his lips, hinting to Mu Duang. Mu Duang understood intuitively. Her figure suddenly vanished. The in-room Black Panther roared, simultaneously turning incorporeal. The 2 great assassins completely hid their presence. Bing Qingxian had inherited Mu Qingying's innate skill, and could track their movements. In that chaotic emptiness, Mu Qingying and Mu Duang's 4 daggers bit at each other, crossed, sliced and slammed. Both sides were assassins, paying particular attention to the first to initiate an attack, to kill in one strike. Their attacks were extremely violent, their speed beyond compare. The air ranged with the impacts of weapons, yet not a shadow could be seen. The 2 swiftly retreated several steps, grimly eyeing their counterpart. Immediately after they withdrew, like a sudden storm, the sisters tacitly attacked. Kill in one strike. Flickering light passing shadow. The shadows melded together. dagger light glittered, and a sharp dagger chi shot out, shattering the wall. Bing Qingxian narrowed his eyes. His expression suddenly changed, and before he could react, a cold dagger was already pressed against his neck. Beside his ear he heard a sing-songy voice. You are supposed to be the same, sharing joy and misfortune. Little sisters, turn your hostility into friendship. A young woman stood between Mu Qingying and Mu Duang, dully speaking. The two girls were shaken. They only then noticed that their techniques were surprisingly easily broken by this newcomer. Mu Qingying's seemingly forever cold expression finally showed interest in seeing this woman. Zhiyu softly sang. Wuyu was leisurely. A mysterious sound came, passing by endlessly. Bing Qingxian was shaken. This was the very first time he had been frightened into a cold sweat. He possessed unrestrained innate skill, but the girl before him had infiltrated right before his eyes, surprisingly unperceived. The opponent's concealment abilities were simply shocking. Could it be she was more formidable than an assassin star general? Mu Qingqing saw that her master had been captured. Without thinking, she instantly withdrew, using dark technique Death Path's Kiss. Wuyu shrugged her shoulders. Her figure vanished, obstructing unrestrained with speed that far surpassed hers. Mu Qingying's double daggers unleashed wounds of King Yama, as she easily evaded the girl's daggers and twisted for Mu Wuyu's throat. The girl's brows rose, and she slowly laughed. Mu Qingying cut empty space. Qingying, stop! Bing Qingxian shouted. Before Mu Qingying could, a dagger pressed against her. The dagger's edge glinted with a cold light, the glare blinding Mu Qingying. She was stifled. Frost Moon Ruinous Light? Hey, this is my duel with elder sister, don't interfere. Mu Duang pointed at Wuyu. Mu Wuyu's brows rose, and she retracted her daggers. No wonder the twin Mu assassins have declined to unexpectedly revel in infighting. Mu Wuyu dully turned her head back, calling out to Xuanla Feifei without any energy. Feifei, are we actually helping this generation's sisters? Xuanla Feifei nodded. Mu Wuyu and Mu Zhiyu put away their hostility, concealing themselves behind her. Who are you? Bing Qingxian was unable to breathe, and his whole body trembled. What are your true names? Xuanla Feifei asked. Duang. Who are you? Why are you interrupting me? Mu Duang stamped her foot, angrily speaking. The corner of Bing Qingxuan's mouth twitched. This idiot completely had no sense of danger, and she was a bit too much on the slow side. Xuanla Feifei then looked at Mu Qingying. Qingying. Mu Qingying coldly replied. Mu Duang, Mu Qingying, not bad. The names of this generation's Mu sisters appear to be able to have some achievement. Xuanla Feifei happily punched her palm. This made her recall that day she contracted Mu Zhiyu and Mu Wuyu. It was practically the same situation. Just who is your distinguished self? Bing Qingxian already sensed something. Mu Wuyu lazily stretched herself. These two are too weak. Feifei, are we really helping them ascend Maiden Mountain? Bing Qingxuan's eyes widened. He restrained the impulses in his heart. Yu, what did you say? Mu Duang, do you want to ascend Maiden Mountain and become overlord? Fairy Xuanla tossed out an enticing offer. Mu Duang bluntly refused. No. Xuanla Feifei blanked. She completely did not expect that Mu Duang would answer like this. She had originally wanted to play matchmaker to make this man contract 2 stars with Mu Duang. If the sisters signed contracts, so long as they were of the same mind, there was a very good chance for him to become a star master to 2 stars. But seeing Mu Duang's unwilling appearance, Xuanla Feifei had thought she misheard. There was unexpectedly a star general that did not wish to scale Maiden Mountain. Mu Zhiyu was delighted. Little restrained, you said you do not want to ascend Maiden Mountain? I only want to kill elder sister. Mu Duang pointed at Qingying. Where did you come up with this preposterous idea? Mu Wuyu was a bit furious with this fool who had inherited the name of Little Restrained. Mu Duang actually then recalled something, finally saying with determination. This is how I think. Elder sister, watch this. Saying this, she was about to stake everything when Mu Wuyu instantly arrived beside her and grabbed her wrist. This speed scared Bing Qingxian. That hurts. Mu Duang bared her teeth. You truly have lost the face of us little restraints. Mu Wuyu's face was red as she cursed. Mu Duang snorted. With her other hand, dagger light glinted, releasing a phantom. The girl spun around, stabbing behind her, but regardless of how fast or nimble she was completely unable to seize even the slightest trace of Wuyu. Suddenly, Mu Duang helplessly threw her knives. Frost moon ruinous light directly stuck into the thick stone slabs. As an assassin, throwing your weapons is truly disgraceful. Mu Wuyu was speechless. Bing Qingxian wrinkled his brows and sneered. This kind of star general truly does not realize the situation before her. Contracting with her will only be a hindrance. What a big mouth. Mu Wuyu arrived in front of him, disliking his evaluation of little restrained. Do not be noisy. Xuanla Feifei shouted, a bit unable to fathom Mu Duang. If you wish to become top-notch assassins, then come with this fairy. Xuanla Feifei turned around and opened a heavenly sound array. Her two Mus shrugged and entered the formation. Bing Qingxian hesitated a moment. Although he did not understand just what was happening, he could vaguely deduce that he had apparently happened upon great fortune to encounter an exceptional character. The array in front of him was truly an absolutely good opportunity. He laughed, and then Bing Qingxian and Mu Qingying entered the array. That man is somewhat shrewd. Mu Zhiyu slightly grinned. This keeps in accordance with an assassin's style. Xuanla Feifei nodded. But that little restrained was honestly very unqualified. As an assassin, she nevertheless did not have even the most fundamental ability to sense danger. She unexpectedly wanted to challenge a heavenly star. Was her brain waterlogged? Although she is a bit stupid, her martial arts are not bad. Her thinking is very meticulous. Perhaps she is not so simple. Mu Wuyu had tested dueling before and thoughtfully smiled. Xuanla Feifei could not interfere in the star duels, otherwise drawing Chao Gai over would be some trouble. If it was not for her, she truly wanted to help Bing Qingxian contract both Mu sisters to achieve another double Mu assassin legend. However, entering her heavenly sound realm, there was a chance Mu Duang would refuse. Pondering this, Bing Qingxian and Mu Qingying already entered. Then Mu Duang walked in with the Room Black Panther. She did not want to become an assassin actually, she simply did not want to let her elder sister go. Before Fairy Xuanla could say anything, Mu Duang suddenly turned around and left the array. Then, she walked in again and left again, as if she was leaving the back door to her own home. Fairy Xuanla and the others stared, not understanding what she was doing. After 2 cycles Mu Wuyu smiled. Just what antics are these, little sister? I just want to go grab my weapons. Mu Duang showed her daggers. Destined star weapons can appear as we will them grab. Is there something so cliché? You're right. Mu Duang had an epiphany. Xuanla Feifei, Bing Qingxian. Can we actually realize the legend of the 9th generation assassins? Mu Zhiyu facepalmed. Mu Wuyu dully shrugged her shoulders. Just who are you? Bing Qingxian decided to not mind her. Do not ask me who I am. You need only remember one thing. I will impart to you the pinnacle of assassination. Xuanla Feifei smiled, full of confidence. Su Xing's treasure banquet was still progressing according to plan perfectly. On the second day he had already browsed through the 2 largest districts in the heaven, earth, dark and yellow areas. He had already bought what he could, and when he returned to his quarters at night, Tang Lianxin brought the information Zhu Yueka relayed about the Alliance of 10. And Zhiyu mentioned the Humi of the Purple Firmament Immortal Palace. That duel had been interrupted by the mysterious star General Yueying. The result was that Zhang Feiyu was not an opponent and was defeated. Gold Lancer Su Jingshu also suffered a hidden loss. However, in a 4 against 1, even that Yueying did not have an advantage. She made several hundred bouts before she withdrew. Just as she came, so too did she withdraw mysteriously. Su Xing had seen many star duels, and those whose martial arts could be this strong were Elamite to a few. As for Humi's intentions, Su Xing surmised that she was most likely betting on both sides. She was both friend and foe, however. Her repelling Zhiyu made Su Xing let go of fighting her. On the treasure banquet's 3rd day, Su Xing unexpectedly ran into Gong Kaiwei in the Magic Array district. Due to his abundance of prehistoric spirit treasures, he gave her the Bagua mirror, inquiring about her recent situation, and taking a stroll with her. During this time, they encountered Yan Wu Dao, Xie Chang'an, Lady Snake Scorpion, and other familiar faces. It was contrarily difficult to maintain calm in the Crystal Dragon Palace treasure banquet. On the fourth day of the treasure banquet, the spirit sealing list was again in a perilous situation. A never-before-heard-of prehistoric spirit treasure named All Things Bracelet, 2, had surprisingly displaced Northern Darkness as Fish's Three Clarities banner, had been squeezed out of its throne at third place. The proud magic weapon of the most high path's top-notch ancestor had once again been dragged down by an unheard-of magic weapon, again making everyone speculate in a frenzy who it belonged to. However, other than these days that flourished in the direction of the Purple Thunder monster, they truly did not know anyone else. The same day, the Alliance of 10 Conference set their banquet in the Crystal Dragon Palace's Four Seas Hall. This was not actually an Alliance of 10 Conference, but this was a good opportunity to use the treasure banquet as a means to convene all of the Azure Dragon Territories sects for negotiation. Because Su Xing had the identity of a four-style school disciple, he also needed to attend. Tang Lianxin followed afterwards, but so as not to expose himself, Lining Mei, Wu Xinjia, Wu Xiao and the others did not come along. Only Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang entered the star nest as a precaution. Tang Lianxin's Great Void Golden Lotus star weapon had never been clearly understood by anyone, so Su Xing did not worry about her being seen through. He slightly disguised himself, and then rushed to the Four Seas Hall. He heard practically all Star Masters would attend, and Su Xing wanted to find Zhao Hanyan. Outside the Four Seas Hall, the Four Styles School's delegation was outside the gate. In attendance of this treasure banquet, other than Zhiyu, there was also the Fire Cloud Peak's head Ruan Hongda, as well as his daughter Ruan Hongxue and others. Spotting Su Xing, Ruan Hongxue was still a bit of fiery temper. "You are too slow to make us wait for you so long. Sorry, some things delayed me," Su Xing said. "You Su Xing, you are Super Void stage." Zhiyu was stunned. "Huh." Ruan Hongda first froze. When he surprisingly could not see Su Xing's cultivation clearly, he discovered the man in front of him had unexpectedly reached Super Void stage. The man cupped his fist in reverence and said, "Truly, congratulations to fellow Su Xing, to surprisingly break through to Super Void in such a short time." Super Void stage was Liangshan continent's most powerful level of cultivation. Even with the four-style school's years of history, other than during its golden years, there were no more Super Void cultivators afterwards. No way. Ruan Hongxue did not believe this. The first time she saw Su Xing, he had only been Galaxy stage, and now he had unexpectedly rose to Super Void in 1 year. This cultivation advancement speed was unprecedented. They all say that Xie Yuan whatever is a hard-to-find genius, but I feel he truly is very far behind junior brother Su Xing. These words once uttered drew the gazes of other cultivators. "Hongxue, do not be impolite to senior brother Su Xing," Ruan Hongda rebuked her. Fearing she was as rude and unreasonable as before, Ruan Hongxue wrinkled her nose in grievance, grumbling about, "What is a Star Duel Covenant even good for? It's okay, this is quite the happy encounter," Su Xing modestly said. Zhiyu sighed. Never expected Su Xing to reach Super Void. Master is ashamed at her inferiority, but this is good as well. Master can be at ease about the star duels. Did the headmaster not come? Su Xing did not want to continue this conversation, and changed the topic. In accordance with this sort of banquet, the sect's headmaster would not miss out. When he mentioned the Four Styles School's Taoist Xian Tian, Zhiyu and Ruan Hongda sighed in depression. What happened? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Let us go inside and then talk. Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom's ghost martial cultivators had invaded several times. Taoist Master Xian Tian had led everyone in the Four Styles School into war against the ghost cultivators. Afterwards, his vitality was injured, and he was currently in secluded cultivation. Currently, Taoist Master Qiantian already drained his life force. Zhiyueka's trip here was also to find some life force prolonging items to bolster Taoist Master Qiantian's vitality. The Falling Blossoms Ghost Kingdom has invaded? Is the Four Styles School the only one holding them back? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Four Styles Island is located in the channel for the Falling Blossoms Ghost Kingdom to enter the Azure Dragon territory. Falling Blossoms Ghost Kingdom's ghost martial cultivators have always wanted to seize Four Styles Island to act as their foothold into opening the Azure Dragon territory. Emperor Liang has actually planned for this, but Four Styles Island is our sect's foundation. In any case, we cannot hand it over to the imperial family. Wan Hongda explained. Thus, Four Styles Island became a chess piece in standing against the ghost martial cultivators. This was also the reason why when Ancient Senior arriving Nine Dragons Great Sect was originally destroyed, the refined Four Styles School could still survive. Su Xing showed an expression of admiration. To lead the sect alone in fighting off a country's incursion gave Su Xing a very good impression. Su Xing had a life-extending flat peach that was perfect for prolonging his vitality, so Su Xing said, "Disciple just happens to have a life-extending flat peach that can be given to Headmaster." Everyone was shocked. "You have a flat peach?" Wan Hongxue was tongue-tied. Wan Hongda and the other elders looked at Su Xing in shock, full of disbelief. However, the most shocking thing was that Su Xing even wanted to give this life-extending flat peach to Taoist Master Qiantian. That ambivalent tone of his, as if it seemed like an ordinary peach to him. That was but a life-extending flat peach, the one labeled a holy fruit by supervoid cultivators. "Is what you said true?" Zhiyueka calmed down. Su Xing nodded. Regardless of the life-extending flat peach's value, it was no more than a holy fruit used to bolster vitality. It was useless to Su Xing, so he felt giving it to Taoist Master Qiantian was fine as well. In any case, the Four Styles School had treated him generously. Wan Hongda swallowed. He looked at Zhiyueka. Decision-making authority clearly rested with this tool refinement master. "You may not," Zhiyueka said coldly. "Master?" Tang Lianxin was confused. "I heard that this treasure banquet has the double sevens and a new prehistoric magic weapon. If you have the life-extending flat peach, that is an enormous advantage for you. Su Xing, you are participating in the star duels. This sect has treated you unfairly somewhat. How can we take such an important thing from you?" Zhiyueka was very firm. Even the headmaster would not agree. "Master, don't be tangled up over the particulars. I have my own ideas for the star duels." Su Xing smiled and said. Zhiyueka pondered for a moment, but she declined again. The life-extending flat peach was too important. Often, supervoid cultivators would use life-extending flat peaches to break through to transforming Star of Annihilation using the life-extending flat peaches, and they were precious for this reason. Supercluster cultivators using it honestly was too wasteful. "Our sect understands your kindness. Taoist Master Qiantian is already supercluster peak and at the bottleneck to breaking through to supervoid stage. We have come this time to search for medicines that will help Headmaster break through his cultivation. The life-extending flat peach is best left with you. It is very useful for your star duels." Seeing Zhiyueka truly did not want to take it, Su Xing muttered. "Medicines for a breakthrough in cultivation, disciple just happens to have some." Saying this, his fingers snapped, and an astral bag flew into Zhiyueka's hand. Zhiyueka searched inside, and her beautiful face nearly drained of color. Inside, there were unexpectedly several legendary good fortune pills, and 1,000-year Empress Watiers. "Good luck, good luck." Su Xing fake coughed. "Master Aunt Yueka, what is it?" Wan Hongda curiously asked. Zhiyueka forced herself to calm down, but upon looking at Su Xing, her heart flustered. Just what had this man been doing? Good fortune pills and Empress Watiers were not just spirit medicines cultivations yearned for day and night to break through their cultivation, but they could only be found in the Black Turtle Territory's Black Turtle Temple and Temple of Empress Wa. How did he venture between two territories? Jutuk felt faint. Could it be that he had killed other star masters to obtain these? If that was the case, it could explain how he could cross 1,000 li in a day. How could Zhiyu know that Su Xing was the purple thunder monster, who made people in 2 territories tear their hair out over? Seeing Su Xing was serious, Zhiyu did not shrink back. With the 4 style school's assets, their original wish to buy panaceas for breakthrough to supervoid cultivation in this treasure banquet was utterly remote. Zhiyu knew that things were serious, so she gratefully said, "For Su Xing's kindness today, this sect thanks you. Master will first take these medicines back to the sect, and will take leave first." Zhiyu hurriedly left. Wan Hongxue scratched her head. Master Ant has never been so emotional. Su Xing, just what did you give Master Ant? Some medicines that can perhaps allow for a breakthrough to supervoid. Su Xing answered. Huh. Wan Hongxue was tongue-tied. The 4 Styles school had already declined in the Azure Dragon territory. After Su Xing entered the sect, he had painstakingly suppressed his cultivation to avoid attention. Su Xing also took this chance to size up the best of Azure Dragon territory. Regarding the Alliance of 10 conference, it was a very interesting affair. After Emperor Liang took power and turned the imperial family into a power that surpassed the sects, the Alliance of 10 sects then distinguished themselves, and the other small sects thoroughly degenerated under the halo of the Alliance of 10 sects into subordinate existences. For this reason, every 10 years they would convene an Alliance of 10 conference to draw up a major commotion in the Azure Dragon territory. The grand occasion did not lose to the treasure banquet. 1 path, 2 halls, 3 palaces, 4 sword sections, 5 lakes, 6 oceans, 7 mountains, 8 directions in the Azure Dragon territory were already universally appreciated, but to rise in the Alliance of 10 was not a simple task. In this Alliance of 10, there was at least 1 supervoid cultivator standing watch, and those above the 3 palaces had at least 2. The most high path of the Alliance of 10 had 5 supervoid level cultivators. Originally, with the most high path's overwhelming capital, this number 1 path would sit stably for at least 100 years, but no one expected that the 9th star duels would unexpectedly have abnormalities. The purple thunder monster's birth had overturned the most high path, and the latter had lost ancestral masters to an impasse. However, Northern Darkness has fish still appeared steady as always. No one could see what he was thinking of. He sat upright and still upon the throne of number 1, lightly chatting with the ancestral masters of the true immortal hall and lifeless hall that had left seclusion. This harmonious scene was rather somewhat displeasing. Right now, everyone under heaven knew that the most high path wanted the purple thunder monster eliminated as soon as possible, and they wondered whether or not Northern Darkness has fish would summon those ancestors truly in seclusion. After all, there was the precedent of the blooming water sword sect's ancestor Wanli at the Bright Moon Longevity Palace. If something like this happened again, Su Xing honestly would feel this was very troublesome. Anyway it was put, supervoid peak cultivators were Liangshan's best. Even with so many star generals he could not be careless. Su Xing sized up the top-notch cultivators of the 2 halls. The lifeless halls was a refined and elegant man. He had a bookish air, cultured and smart. At first glance, the impression he gave was very refined. The more he acted like this, the more it made others feel that he was unfathomable. The true immortal halls was even more awesome. She was a woman wearing a pretty white palace dress. Her skin was like snow, absolutely beautiful. Every frown and smile, every word and action, each and every move, her temperament was like a kind of Qiongyu. That man's name is Xu Xindao, one of the true immortal hall's supervoid stage great ancestral masters. What he has trained in is the not-known cool breeze sword, 2 and the one phrase soul technique, 3, and he has a magic weapon named Yellow Spring's brush. He is quite upstanding, and he has never been known to initiate an attack on others, so you do not need to worry about him interfering with Northern Darkness as fish. The true immortal hall's ancestral master is Outer Void Immortal, the first woman to cultivate the 72 Outer Void Flying Immortals swords to the true spirit realm. Her skill with the heavenly immortal swords is outstanding, and even Emperor Liang cannot compare. She has practiced the Immortal Mind chant, and the 9 days Outer Void Divine Light. Her magic weapon is named Dragon Slaying Sword, and she has previously dueled Ancestral Master Northern Darkness several times. She is evenly matched with him. Outer Void Immortal is purportedly at the Super Void Peak bottleneck, so there is no need to worry about her interfering. A voice gentle as snow leisurely spoke, as if she had seen though everything on Su Xing's mind. Su Xing turned around and slightly smiled. A young girl whose clothes surpassed snow stood there the same way when they had first met, cool and with a slight warmth in her arrogance. Gong Kaiwei. The immortal hero princess gaze again glanced at the others. The extreme ice holy palace of the three palaces will not meddle in your affairs. The purple firmament immortal palace's position is not clear. In this treasure banquet, they only dispatched the super void early stage fairy Kong. Associating with that they never held power, they had practically no dealings with the 10 great sects. They have unintentionally showed interest. What you need to take note of is the Crystal Dragon Palace's Liangshan. She and Northern Darkness has fish have a very deep friendship. Owing to the Crystal Dragon Palace's neutral stance, they probably will not interfere, but the Crystal Dragon Palace has countless rare treasures. She will secretly help him, so you had best keep your guard. Su Xing was dumbfounded listening. As it turned out, the girl was already helping him understand. Gong Kaiwei, you know so much in detail. You can't have investigated this just for me? He was a bit embarrassed. Gong Kaiwei's cheeks flared with a bit of red. She expressionlessly said, "Do not forget that Zhu Sha is the resourceful strategist. I only asked her." The stone-like woman next to Gong Kaiwei then blinked, as if she was informing Su Xing that she was very innocent. Su Xing smiled. "Many thanks. If these Super Void Peak ancestors team up, then that honestly would not be so easy to deal with." Gong Kaiwei cast a glance at him, her expression seemingly saying, "You can only blame yourself for being too defiant of the natural order. Have you prepared what to do?" Gong Kaiwei walked to Su Xing's side. She spoke gently, the young girl's fragrance lingering nearby like butterflies. "If Northern Darkness has fish wants to take revenge, then I won't hold back." Against an enemy, Su Xing had never been benevolent. Gong Kaiwei gently shook her head. She did not worry about this. Su Xing's star general battle formation was so big that even if the Most High Path did its utmost with the sect's tens of thousands of cultivators, they were helpless against Su Xing. What Gong Kaiwei worried about was something else. The third overlord may be the peerless twin assassins that have comprehended their third watch. This must be a problem? Gong Kaiwei said. This actually is true. Su Xing nodded. He had investigated some records of the third star duels. A star master named Xuanla Feifei who had contracted 2 stars. She had studied under an ancient sect, the Heavenly Sound Valley, and she possessed a very powerful sword chant. The Crown Prince Lianxin Heavenly Sound Sword and a mysterious ability, Heavenly Sound Realm, Illusion of Confusing Sound. 5. Assassins who have comprehended heaven rank will have no chance to assassinate you. I can help you to be on alert. Gong Kaiwei paused, as if she was carefully considering her phrasing to feel not so ambiguous. Zhu Sha's arrays can be laid anytime. Other than Wu Song, assassins will have no way to vanish. Kaiwei, I appreciate your good intentions, but I think it's enough for me to resolve the third overlord myself. Do you feel that I am unable to help you? Gong Kaiwei rolled her hair bun, her tone apathetic, a bit unhappy. This is trouble I brought on. Involving you is never good. Su Xing shook his head. Is there any difference between us? Gong Kaiwei softly said. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.